UPI reports Dallas police officer Amber Geiger was arrested Sunday night and faces manslaughter charges after she entered the wrong apartment, believing it was hers, and fatally shot a man in his own home. Geiger was booked into the Kaufman County Jail, and her bail was set at $300,000. The incident occurred Thursday night when Geiger, who was off duty but still in uniform, entered the apartment of Botham Jean, believing it was her apartment. She then shot Jean, who died of gunshot wounds on his way to the hospital. Police have not said how Geiger, who lives in the same building, was able to enter the apartment. Geiger was not arrested until almost 3 days after the shooting. Dallas Police Chief Renee Hall said on Friday that authorities were preparing a warrant to arrest Geiger on manslaughter charges, but that was postponed when the investigation was handed over to the Texas Rangers. Attorney Lee Merritt, who is representing Jean's family, said the delay in charging Geiger only worsened an already tragic situation. At a press conference on Sunday, Merritt said he was presented video evidence and witness testimony to police that contradicts the police narrative of what happened during the shooting. However, he did not give specifics on what that evidence shows. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports firefighters battled over the weekend to outflank a wildfire that has forced the closure of an interstate highway in Northern California as the blaze swept through explosively dry mountain timber in the Shasta Trinity National Forest. As of late Saturday, the Delta Fire had scorched more than 40,500 acres in the Cascade Range since erupting on Wednesday in a forest canyon along the Sacramento River about 250 miles north of San Francisco. No serious injuries or deaths had been reported, but the blaze has caused major travel disruptions. On Wednesday, flames raced across Interstate 5, chasing a number of truckers from their vehicles before flames engulfed their abandoned rigs. A 45-mile stretch of I-5, a key north-south route through the entire state, has remained closed since then, requiring traffic detours of up to 120 miles. Although the containment of the blaze remained at zero, crews have made gains, clearing away tinder dry brush beyond its leading edge. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
After this morning's police raid on Cosmopolitan magazine's male pleasure laboratory revealed that test subjects were forced to endure horrific abuses and inhumane living conditions, Onion reporters spoke to 23-year-old Daniel Chertok, one of the numerous men exploited for the monthly magazine's studies on erotic stimulation.
It was awful. They drove us wild for days on end. Once they made me lather myself with gallons of sexy bath oils, and then read thousands of racy text messages until my eyesight began to blur. Then for the next 12 hours, they blasted sultry songs into my ears and made me simulate 50 crazy hot sex moves. They said I couldn't rest until they found the bliss button on my Randy regions.
According to Chertok, test subjects were often subjected to hours of grueling experimentation at the hands of female scientists. Chertok added that many of his fellow subjects were not lucky enough to survive the excruciating treatment.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You are invited to take control of the airwaves here. The toll-free number, should you wish to do that, is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And also, we have Discord. There are the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. In fact, there are 3 of those. However, one of those Discord rooms is currently occupied with a special guest that we have on the line tonight. By the way, in the studio with you, it's Ian.
And Melanie.
Our special guest actually is all the way over in Manchester, New Hampshire, Melanie, which is where you live. So you make the trip all the way out here every single week to be on the radio with us. Jeremy Kauffman is with us from LBRY. Now, we've talked about LBRY in the past here on Free Talk Live. It's lbry.io. That is the website of LBRY, which I'm sure Jeremy can do a great job of giving a 30-second elevator pitch. So let's let you start with that. What is LBRY, Jeremy? You're in charge of it. You're the founder of it. It's blockchain related. It's media. Tell me more.
Yeah, well, I don't know if there's anything that would jive with your audience more than what we're doing at Library, because we're trying to, in fact, I'd say we can say we're past trying at this point. We've created a service that functions quite similarly to YouTube or Spotify or services like this that have that, but the difference is ours is entirely decentralized and blockchain based. So we do not have that same level of control and those censorship points that exist with traditional services.
Yeah, and it's been up and running and public for what, a few years now? When did it officially get, I guess, public?
Our blockchain has been live for over 2 years.
Yep.
But when we launched the blockchain, it's just kind of like command line based hacker type computer savvy way of using it. We released our first graphical application to the public almost a year ago. We've had hundreds of thousands of people download that application this far. There's I think we're at 400,000 or 500,000 videos on the network now.
Wow.
You can find popular YouTube streamers. You can find Hollywood movies that have been released on the network. There's some really great stuff on there.
That is so cool. I've actually got it running here on the LRN.FM studio machine, and it's a nice looking piece of software. I guess it just went through an upgrade recently.
That's a sentence that is basically always true.
Yeah.
In fact, this call-in coincided with the fact that we're traditionally a remote company. We do have an office here in New Hampshire where several people work out of, but we have over 20 people working full-time at this company, and they are all in Manchester, New Hampshire this week.
Wow, that's so cool. It's like a little library convention going on there.
Right. We have people from India, Africa, Europe, all over the world.
Well, thank goodness you aren't in jail for the library convention of all your coworkers that's going on, because as of a few days ago, you were at least temporarily in police custody there in Manchester for the dastardly crime of trying to leave your property. Can you kind of paint the picture? What happened here?
I mean, honestly, and I still don't really know why I was arrested. I know that I didn't do what a police officer, I guess, told me to do, which was to stop filming and go back in my home. But I was arrested about 20 feet from my driveway while filming a police officer completely quietly.
It looked like you were in your driveway. Were you not in the driveway? Because the video, by the way, is over.
That's actually a street. That's an alley.
Oh, that's an alley.
Yeah, that's an alley. Yeah. In the video. So this video is available. I don't know if you have a preferred link. I can share the one on Facebook or on Twitter.
Ew, Facebook, no. Just go to...
I'll share the one share the speech one. We can share the speech one.
What's the speech one?
In fact, the shortest form of it is I believe since I've got the winning, if you go to speech, so the URL is sp.ch/arrest. That URL will get you there.
Okay, cool. And you can also go to freekeen.com, where I wrote up a fairly detailed, as detailed as it could be for the night of when it happened. Wrote up a piece and put a cropped version of the video to kind of go widescreen on it. It's not pretty, but it shows the most important parts of what happened to you. And it's a relatively short encounter. I mean, you're out in the alleyway. It's probably just over 2 minutes in length. This cop, who, according to Manchester Police, is, named Ryan Olson, he's a patrolman, starts shouting at you from across the street. Did you have any idea why the police were occupying your streets and locking people in their homes?
So I think I missed just a part of that question.
Oh.
I did not... I could tell that something was going on, right? It's not normal that there's so many police officers around.
How many cops were you seeing around? Like, were you inside your house?
Well, from inside my house, I could only see one or two, but where there were 30 or 40 in the area. It turned out I didn't know any of this, right? I came home from work. I could tell. I did see a police officer kind of down the road as I was biking, but I didn't know any of this. I came out. I knew something was going on, but I didn't know the extent or why they were there. I came out. I got so there's like maybe 1 or 2 minutes before the footage starts. Mm-hmm. I came out, got in my car. I was going to pick up my son from his sitter, and I just started driving down that alley. And the cop says, has the gun, says you can't go this way. I rolled down my window and kind of say, hey, I'm just trying to go pick up my son. What's going on? All he would say was, you're not allowed to go this way. You're not allowed to go this way. And so at that point, I went back, parked my car, of course, got out my cell phone because I'm someone who cares about my civil liberties.
Thank goodness. Thank you for doing this, for recording this interaction, because it's just, to interrupt your story. I think it's so important that we have people here who are willing to do this stuff, because to show the police state, to show people what this is actually like, you don't know, from some mainstream media report of what it's like to be caught in this, what essentially was a net. They weren't letting you out of your own home.
Yeah, I try to be an optimist, Ian. And if there's an optimistic, one, hopefully this can be a positive cause, and we can get the police to stop doing this. But also to me, as someone, I work pretty actively for causes that I believe in, is kind of like a nice, encouraging reminder that how quickly that boot will go to your face.
Well, I don't know if I would call it encouraging, but it's a reminder.
I'm saying it's encouraging to keep working, right? Like, I'm not saying it's pleasant. Very unpleasant, but it's motivating, right? If I'm trying to put an optimistic spin on this, it's that I'm motivated.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad they haven't beaten you down into submission over this. So you're coming out of your house. You're trying to leave. You're getting in your car. Some cop says you can't go this way. Then what?
I mean, I would really say watch the video, because it's pretty much you can't go this way.
Because that's when it picks up. You said you started right after that.
Why? You can't go this way, essentially because I say so. Very common way that police will get what they want. And so I started asking him what law. And I started filming him. He said, "Sir, it's disorderly conduct. You're shouting." And I'm only shouting because he's telling me not to go that way, right? I did not get into this trying to piss this guy off, right? I wanted to know what was going on. And if the police were going to assert that I wasn't allowed to leave my home, I wanted to at least have evidence of that. I wasn't trying to get arrested. When this guy couldn't cite any law and then started to say that it was disorderly conduct to be standing in the street filming him quietly.
What, any law or any reason? Because it's not like he was like, well, I don't have the citation on me, but there's a gas leak or something like that. It was just no reason whatsoever.
Well, yeah.
I mean, so there was a reason. I don't mean to lose my libertarian credentials here. But there
was no reason that he stated in the video.
Yes, that he wasn't willing. And that's what's so crazy, right? Is even if you're the most pro-police guy, and it doesn't make sense to behave the way the cops did, to roll in with a bunch of people with guns, wearing big guns, flashing lights, making lots of sound, and then refusing to say anything about what's going on. How does that encourage people to stay calm?
Well, so according to, so I called Manchester Police that night when I was trying to find out, what's the officer's name, what were the charges, what was the bail, that kind of thing, as I was writing the article. When I talked to these people and I asked what was going on, they said, they acted like I should have known. I'm like, well, didn't you get the press release? And I said,
well, you should be on Facebook, Ian. And
they sent a press release out to the local media, and I'm not on their media list. It's like, well, I live out in Keene, so I don't know what you people are doing. It's like, oh, well, it was a homicide investigation. And, had they said something like, look, sir, there's a potential murderer on the loose, would that have changed how you handled yourself in that situation?
Probably, yeah. I'm not trying to get in danger.
They didn't bother to tell you that there was a potential murderer on the loose. Now, ultimately, you should be able to make the decision. And you can stick with us and keep talking about this, right, Jeremy? Because we're just getting started here. Jeremy Kauffman is with us. He is the founder of LBRY, LBRY.io. Got arrested earlier this week or this weekend. We'll continue with the story here in moments. Your calls and thoughts are also welcome. If you got a question for him, you can dial in here. It's Free Talk Live.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com. Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global. Drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at anypay.global. That's anypay.global.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, but if you've got a question right now for our special guest, he is Jeremy Kauffman from LBRY, LBRY.io. He's the founder and I believe the current CEO of LBRY, which is a very interesting piece of software that we've been using here in the LRN.FM studio that will allow you to share videos. It's a blockchain-based media protocol. Share videos in a decentralized manner, meaning that you're protected from takedowns from organizations that are centralized, like YouTube. And of course, there's been a lot in the news recently about different people being targeted, in some cases for their opinions, by these big organizations like YouTube. So it's nice to have an alternative that is not subject to that censorship. In fact, the video of Jeremy being arrested that he recorded on his smartphone, I actually uploaded my version of the video, where I took the video and I cropped it for widescreen, and then I amped up the sound because I wanted to make sure that the people listening could hear what the officer was saying, or at least as best as possible, because he's all the way across the street in a situation in downtown Manchester where I don't know if it's close to where you live, Melanie, but
I have no idea.
But he is this west side or east side of Manchester, Jeremy, where this went down?
This is the east side.
Okay, so east side of Manchester. Which looks like it's the heart of downtown. If you've got an alleyway going behind your house, I'm guessing you're pretty much close to the downtown area. Is that right?
That's right. I walk to work every day right on Elm Street, and I love where I live.
Perfect. Except for when the police crack down and lock everybody in their homes. You try to go outside. You try to walk actually try to get out of your property by driving to go pick up your son from a sitter, and a cop threatens you, says you can't go this way. Well, you couldn't go the other way either, according to a different cop, apparently. And ultimately, you pull out your cell phone, and you just kind of give a narration of what the situation is. And that's when this officer named Olson, Officer Ryan Olson, starts shouting at you from all the way across the street. And at this point, you have no idea what's going on, why there are dozens of police in your neighborhood, and this officer doesn't bother to explain anything to you.
Not at all. And it's such, they take such a ridiculous attitude about it. He'll say something, and this was, I think, before when the recording starts, but he'll say something like, well, you can see if the officer the other way will let you go. Well, he knows the answer.
Pass the buck.
You can ask the guy at the other side, can I go that way? And he says, no, you're not allowed to go this way. I say, the officer in that direction. So, it's like, what is this game that you're playing? Why are you playing that game? To whose benefit? Like, even if you're the biggest cop supporter, I'm obviously not that, but like, to whose benefit is that? No one.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, they could have told you, oh, there was a murder allegedly committed here, and we're worried that there's a murderer on the loose. Maybe you don't want to be bringing your son back home. That might have been, that might have been persuasive. It might have given you a reason to reconsider your plans. But ultimately, in my view, the police should be able to do nothing more than inform, unless you're being detained as a suspect. And of course, we all know the importance, or at least, on this show, certainly we know the importance of asking police questions about status, like, am I being detained? And then what's the probable, the reasonable articulable suspicion? I think isn't that the level, Melanie, that they have to reach to detain somebody? What's the reasonable articulable suspicion you're detaining me? Get all that on the record, because they shouldn't be able to do anything more than inform you of what's going on. You should be able to take whatever risks that you want to. Now, ultimately, I think the courts will probably side with, well, the police can do whatever they want, but in an ideal world, and that's what they should be able to do. If you want to take the risk of driving in an area in which there might be a mad, killer on the loose, you should be able to do that. And they prevented you from doing anything. In fact, they then took you into custody and charged you with so-called disorderly conduct for the dastardly, crime of disobeying the state, right? Like, that's ultimately what happened here. He told you to go back in, and you wanted to ask questions. You wanted to be the media and report on what was going on here, is the way I see it.
But we are the media, aren't we?
You should be. Yeah, everybody who's got a smartphone or a pad of paper and a pencil or a memory, as far as I'm concerned, should be the media. If it's your intention to report on the actions of a police officer or anything going on in public, you should be able to do that.
Couldn't agree more.
So there was kind of an interesting contrast between what happened to you and what happened out here in Keene a few years ago, when there was what they call one of these. Oh God, I'm just spacing on the term. But somebody calls the cops. They call it swatting. They call the cops and they report a false violent incident going on somewhere in order to have the cops go and raid with the SWAT team that particular location. So just as a bit of comparison, when this happened in Keene, I went downtown Keene and I encountered a situation where there were police officers with machine guns hiding behind concrete barriers, pointing their guns at a particular building in the heart of downtown Keene. And I've got my camera out, of course. I'm asking the police, hey, what's going on here? And I'm just walking around wherever it is I want to walk around. As the cops are cowering behind walls, I'm walking around like, hey, what's going on here? They told me, they said there's, somebody called in a hostage situation in that building over there. And so they were behaving as though they were dealing with a real hostage situation. They raided the building. They went floor to floor. And, it was a horrible violation of people's property rights. But the interesting thing was they didn't prevent me from wandering about the entire scene of this area from doing that. They didn't threaten me with disorderly conduct. They didn't threaten me with arrest. They were just okay with me walking around. Maybe that's because they wanted me to be shot by the hostage takers, but it was kind of an interesting contrast. Like, I was able to do whatever I wanted to. You couldn't even leave your front driveway.
Yeah. Maybe they know who you are.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't just me.
They just didn't feel like dealing with it.
It wasn't just me. They were letting anybody walk in and out of the area. And they informed us of what was going on when we asked about it. So it was just like a completely different way to handle that situation. So you got arrested. Was it your first time? Can I ask? Is that okay to ask you that?
Well, I'll tell you it's okay to ask. It's actually, I haven't been arrested since college. I was arrested in college for the very libertarian crime of having a loud party.
Yeah.
And that's it. I can't say that I don't think the police acted legally in that instance either, but that's the last time I was arrested, and it wasn't for some sort of right defending purpose.
Now, they charged you with so-called disorderly conduct, what they call a Class A misdemeanor here in New Hampshire, which is up to a year in jail, and I think over $1,000 in fines. I'm not sure what the maximum is on that. So I guess you're planning on putting in a not guilty and taking the sucker to trial then?
Yeah, I certainly, I'm a pragmatic person. If it turns out, and I don't claim to be an expert on the law. Lawyers are experts on the law. I'm going to talk to lawyers, and I'm going to defer to their judgments. If they say that what the officer did is actually legal under New Hampshire law, truthfully, Ian, I'm probably going to just try to get out of this as in little trouble as possible. However, if what the cop did was not valid under New Hampshire law, and from preliminary conversations, my understanding is that it likely wasn't. I'm interested in pursuing it as aggressively as I can.
Disorderly conduct is a tough one. It's something that we've dealt with a number of times in a variety of different situations out here in Keene. A case you might want to take a close look at is the James Cleveland case. I don't know if you've followed that at all, but he was arrested for recording video of a suicide situation here in Keene, where the police had a similar response, an armed response. They brought out the Bearcat. They brought out the SWAT team. He recorded video when the police...
That never went to appeal, though, right?
He defeated that case by getting a hung jury on one of the charges. The jury threw out the resisting arrest charge, I believe. Got it hung on disorderly... I think it was hung on disorderly conduct, if I recall correctly. And ultimately, the state refused to bring a second prosecution on that. There's more coming up here in moments. 855-450-FREE is our number.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp, is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Jeremy Kauffman is with us here for one more segment. Obviously, he's a busy guy. He's running a really excellent blockchain-based media protocol that allows you to upload videos to a decentralized video hosting network. It's Ian and Melanie in the studio here tonight. Melanie, you've got legal training. You went to law school down south, and we're looking at the case where Jeremy was actually arrested. By the way, if you want to help, Melanie also does other things like accounting work, and so that's your main trade. That's what you do up here. But you can do it for anybody anywhere inside the United States. Or can you also do expats, people who are outside of the United States as well?
Yeah, so I can do U.S. filings. Most of the countries I've been approached for, I cannot do.
Okay. But if there's somebody who's from the U.S. who's living in another country, you can still do their U.S.
Yeah,
filing.
so if you're in, Afghanistan or Syria or whatever, I can't do those filings. I can do the U.S. filings.
Right.
It doesn't matter where you are.
Gotcha.
I also can't do California right now, but
pretty much every other state you're good for?
Yeah, so
So state taxes, federal taxes, you can do bookkeeping for businesses, and you're quite affordable.
So it starts at $100 a month for the bookkeeping side, depending on how many transactions you have. Most small businesses are going to fall under that. And then if you don't, it's, $150, $200,
Sweet.
I don't think I've ever talked to anybody that was over like 500.
Check her out. You want a real anarchist to do your taxes for you? She can do that in your bookkeeping. Go to her website through ours. You can go to tax.freetalklive.com, tax.freetalklive.com. We got Jeremy Kauffman back with us from library, lbry.io. Arrested for ridiculous reason over the weekend. You were bailed out on PR bond, which means personal recognizance. You didn't actually have to throw a bunch of money at the state in order to get out of their cell. But you wanted to comment on the bail bonds process?
Yeah, I just think it's, it probably shows something about my personality, like getting arrested and just thinking about the economic efficiency of everything that's happening. But it seems like a real abuse against people with lesser income, and It doesn't even make sense from the sense of the state's perspective, right? Even if I'm saying I take the perspective of the state and I agree with what they're trying to do, it doesn't make any sense. They told me that I could stay in a cell. I was arrested Friday evening. They told me I could stay in a cell until Monday morning and then see a judge, which is free, or I could pay $40 to see a bail bondsman who's a person with, less training, less education, saves all of the expense of incarcerating me, doesn't cost as much as a judge, and that is money that I pay for a, quote, service that I don't get back. And that just seems absurd. It doesn't make any sense. Why would the state, if anything, the state should be encouraging people to see bail bondsmen, not to spend more time incarcerating them and spending money on the more expensive position that is a judge, right? It's just absurd. And I mean, it's kind of a small thing. Obviously, the injustice here is the much bigger deal, but what a ridiculous system that is.
Oh yeah, they'll nickel and dime you to death. In fact, if you ever do get found guilty of whatever, disorderly conduct, and they hit you with a fine, there's also a 24% penalty assessment, so a fee on top of the fine for every time you get fined in a court here in New Hampshire. So you're facing a disorderly conduct charge for trying to leave your property. The police had locked down the area. They refused to tell you why the lockdown was happening. They went ahead and arrested you about a couple minutes after you essentially had an interaction with an officer on the streets who was ordering you to go back inside your home. He wasn't even going to allow you to stand in your yard or in the alleyway next to your house.
It was an alleyway.
Yeah.
It was, just to be clear, it wasn't part of my property where I was when I was arrested.
But he probably wouldn't have wanted you standing in your own yard anyway, if that's where you were.
Yeah, I mean, probably not. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, probably not.
So this will be an interesting case. I forwarded you the link to the James Cleveland case. James is a former co-host here on Free Talk Live who was arrested in a very similar circumstance. In fact, James was even arrested after he was ordered to move backwards by the officer, and he did move back. But at one point, he decided, well, look, I'm a member of the media. I'm here to report on this. I'm willing to take my risks. There was somebody with a gun. Now, the guy was suicidal in this case. Wasn't really a threat to anyone, but the police were acting like he was a threat. And so, he stood his ground, and so the cops arrested him for so-called disorderly conduct. And the argument they're going to make is based on the disorderly conduct statute, which is one of their favorite catch-all charges. If you're doing something they don't like, this is the charge they will throw at you. In this case, they're going to claim that they have the right to close down an area due to an imminent threat, whatever that might be. Man with a gun, potential murderer on the loose, or a fire or whatever. They have the right to close down an area, they're going to argue, and they have the right to keep you out of that area. In this case, your home was within that area is what they're going to say, and so therefore they have a right to keep you in your home. And I imagine your argument's going to be something to the effect of, well, look, I should be able to be free and make take a risk for myself, especially as a member of the media trying to report on what was going on in this circumstance. I think it's a really interesting case. I wouldn't blame you for taking a plea if they offered you a sweetheart plea deal, but if the ACLU or some other organization can come on board to help you out here, or you get an attorney who's willing to take the case, who's really excited about it, I think it would be make for a really interesting case and could set some important precedent, because the police have gotten away with this stuff a lot in the past. In the case of James Cleveland, it was a hung jury on the disorderly conduct charge, and they just didn't bring the charge back for a second trial, which they could have, but they chose not to. And it was hung 6-6, so it was split evenly. So you never know what's going to happen in these cases. So I don't know. That's just me kind of giving you a little bit of a recap and a bit of history to chew on.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, and I started checking out these links already during the break, and we'll continue to check them out. As I said earlier, I'm interested in pursuing it, but I'm going to significantly defer to my lawyer's advice as to how viable that is. I've had one preliminary consultation. I have several more this week. I want to make sure I find someone who can do a good job. And so, we'll see what they say. By the way, actually, one other juicy part of this that we haven't covered. So this whole time, and this is more police incompetence as opposed to police abuse, so there were dozens of officers in this area. I want to say 30, 40 or more. They had been there since not the early morning, but the morning, like 9 a.m. or so, 8, 9 a.m. They thought a suspect was in a house decent distance from mine. And by the way, in the opposite direction of the direction I was trying to go, right? So the officer was keeping me closer to the house that was a danger.
Great.
But the guy was never in there.
He wasn't there.
So it took 40 cops 10 hours to ascertain he wasn't in the building.
I mean, was it like a really big house? Like a really, really big house that it might take you...
I know none of the details.
Hours.
It was probably a standoff with an empty house. We've heard about stories like this happening elsewhere, where the cops will have a standoff with an empty house for hours.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened here. So pretty funny.
All right. Well, I hope that you'll keep us in the loop with any kind of developments here. Obviously, if there's court hearings, I want to go and attend and record video of that so other people can see.
October 11th is the arraignment. If you're interested.
October 11th is the arraignment. Okay, cool. Good to know. Excellent. Anything else you want to share with our listeners tonight, Jeremy? Thanks for coming on.
No, I think that's it. I appreciate you having me on. I know big advocate of keeping the police in check, and I'm hoping I can do a little bit myself.
All right, we'll keep an eye on things, and thanks for your call tonight. That's Jeremy Kauffman. He's the founder, the current CEO of LBRY, LBRY.io. Go and check that out and grab their software because it's really cool. Thanks, Jeremy. Have a great night.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
So again, Jeremy Kauffman there. The video, for those of you who have not seen it, is up over at freekeene.com. I've shared it on both YouTube, on the Free Keene YouTube channel, and also uploaded it to LBRY. So of course I had to put it. I had to put it on LBRY, and it's 2 minutes long. We could play the audio here. I didn't want to waste Jeremy's time playing the audio that he obviously experienced. But if you want to, we can do that. I don't think there's any curse words in it, but we can do that here in just a few moments. Also, you can share your thoughts on the wonderful catch-all charge of disorderly conduct. Should the police have the ability to lock down an arbitrary area based on some purported threat and prevent you from doing what you should be able to do as a free person, which is to say, take a risk? The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, and Discord at discord.lrn.fm.
This November, I'll be running the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, as a member of Team Innocence Project. The Innocence Project was the first legal organization to systematically apply DNA testing to cases of wrongful convictions as a powerful tool to reveal innocence. So far in 2018, the Innocence Network has welcomed 32 wrongfully convicted people home from prison for crimes they did not commit and had a record-breaking 850 people unite in Memphis at their annual conference. The movement of freeing the innocent and reforming the criminal justice system is growing and would not be possible without your support. Together as 68 network organizations around the world, they've helped exonerate 513 people who spent a combined total of 7,804 years in prison. They've also worked together to pass over 150 laws in the U.S. to help prevent wrongful convictions. You can support the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
Let's talk tough. Let's talk comfort. Let's talk about down-home value. Made in the USA blue jeans, like you wore as a kid. Remember?
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch. Guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
For good old-fashioned comfort, get Diamond Gusset jeans. Every stitch guaranteed. And our Defender motorcycle jean comes Kevlar reinforced. See them at GUSSET.com, that's gusset.com, or call 888-848-7738. That's 888-848-7738. Diamond Gusset jeans got it, others don't.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
How many lawyers does it take to change a light bulb? None. They'd rather keep their clients in the dark.
There are too many lawyer jokes to count. However, there are some lawyers with more noble intentions. At the Institute for Justice, we bring the light to our clients. We are a non-profit public interest law firm with clear values and principles. At IJ, we fight for those whose most basic rights are denied by the government. Visit our website today at ij.org.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, we do have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. Jump on over there to discord.lrn.fm. You can hop into any one of those rooms, and we'll get you on the air. You'll sound like Jeremy did just a few moments ago. Sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. The us is Ian and Melanie. And a lot of libertarians got to know Tom Woods during the Ron Paul campaigns of 2008 and 2012. Tom is a New York Times best-selling author, has written over a dozen books, including The Politically Incorrect Guide to American History. Since September of 2013, Tom Woods has been putting out his own show, The Tom Woods Show, every single weekday, which means he's got nearly 1,200 episodes so far. Guests include Ron Paul, Judge Andrew Napolitano, David Stockman, and hundreds more. Topics including war, the Federal Reserve, net neutrality, the FDA, Austrian economics, and other subjects of interest to libertarians. You can find The Tom Woods Show online over at tomwoods.com or search for Tom Woods Show in your favorite podcatcher. As we continue here, of course, you can, as I said, you can take control of the airwaves. We've got other things to talk about. I know, Melanie, you wanted to talk about financial abortions. I don't know what that really means, but I guess we will find out here in a little bit. Plus, I said I had the audio of Jeremy's arrest. So if you're just tuning in, we just spent the first part of the hour with Jeremy Kauffman from LBRY, LBRY.io. It's a great blockchain-based media protocol where you can actually upload videos to decentralized hosting, meaning they're not subject to censorship like videos, say, on YouTube might be. And he was arrested for trying to leave his home in Manchester, New Hampshire on Friday, as the police had locked down the area, ultimately, supposedly due to a homicide investigation. Well, it turns out apparently they were looking for somebody who they thought was in a house, but in point of fact, that person was actually not in the house.
The house is very uncooperative.
Yeah, and so they hung outside for something like the entire day, and ultimately it was all a total waste of taxpayer dollars, whatever that ridiculous cost was.
Well, I mean, if I could take all the cops and be like, okay, today you're going to stare at this house. I mean, okay.
You're okay with that as long as, Well,
don't lock down
don't
the area.
Lock down people.
But if you just want to go stare at a house all day, please do.
And act like you're doing something important. So here's what happened. So again, he was threatened. He was told you can't leave. He was trying to go and get his son. And so as soon as they threatened him, because he just figured he was going to go leave. There's just a cop across the street, whatever. I'm going to get in my car. I'm going to go. And he was threatened by these officers. And so after the initial threat, he then pulls out his smartphone, and that's where the video picks up.
It's fine. I'll be able to get him.
No, I'm saying, where is the...
I don't know. I'm just up here. Might as well, record what's going on.
I think that's him talking with his wife about picking up his kid.
This is Hanover and Maple Street. The police aren't letting me leave. They're not letting me leave my house. So the police officer in this direction and the police officer over here in this direction both have let me know that I'm not allowed to leave my property. And these are the only exits from my property. I let them know that my son is currently with his babysitter and needs to go picked up, but they said that that's just my problem. I'll have to figure out how to deal with that. I did let the babysitter know.
Oh, and by the way, if you don't pick up your kid from where you're supposed to pick him up, we'll charge you with some sort of child endangerment charge while we're at it. They'll just come up with anything to charge you with.
I'm not worried about my son at this point. I am concerned about what's going on out here, and I find it interesting that police officers are allowed to not let me leave.
Walk, go back that way.
Why? This is why? What under what law?
That's the cop shouting from across the street. You can hear I boosted the audio for the video.
I'm not going to tell you again.
But I won't obey a direct order from a police officer. But can
no, because you're not moving.
So you want?
Okay, when an officer says please, because he said please go back that way, is that an order?
I doubt there's any case law on that.
Whether or not the word please, is a discerning factor as to whether or not it's an order or a request.
I think that would get. I mean, total speculation. I think that would get ruled as fluffery.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, from a completely grammatical standpoint, I don't disagree with that.
This is why it's important to ask questions, and I think Jeremy did a good job. I mean, this is the first time I've seen a video coming out of Manchester, any activist in Manchester, in a couple years. And actually, you know what? The one prior to this was our very own Christopher Wade, who's our co-host on Friday night, and he's from Keene. So that was the previous one, and that was a couple years ago now, I think. Before that, I don't remember what the last one. It might have been Rob Mathias from the Rebel Love Show, who did some cop blocking, police accountability activism down there. So it's nice to see somebody standing up for the right to be in a public place, the right to, in this case, leave your private property and go onto public property and travel and go where it is you want to go, even with a police lockdown present. I think he did a pretty good job in general. But one of the questions that I think I would like to think that I would have asked is, I would have asked the officer, are you ordering me or are you asking? Because you're saying please. And he'll say it again multiple times here in a moment.
Want me to go this direction? Under what law are you ordering me? I just want to know what law. Do you not know what law?
It's called disorderly conduct.
Disorderly conduct. You started a conversation with me. That's disorderly conduct.
Keep walking.
Wait, well, if it's disorderly conduct, I'm happy to be arrested for disorderly conduct. Under what law? Cite the law.
Well, he did cite the law. So the supposed words on paper here, the statute in question, is the disorderly conduct statute, where there is, again, it's open. It's written so nebulously they can charge people under a lot of circumstances. And in most cases, they'll be successful because most people don't challenge their charges. They just take a plea deal, and that's it. So it's rare to see somebody challenge these things, but they are, the police are going to argue, well, we had this lockdown, this area locked down for a reason. It was for his own protection, and we have the legal ability to do this. And if you don't obey when we say go back to a place that you've come from, or go back inside, or go back beyond this arbitrary line that we've demarcated here, then we can arrest you for it. I mean, it's pretty clear. I was reading it to you off the air. It's pretty clear in their statutes that they can. From their perspective, they can do this. Now, I wish they didn't.
Not really.
No, that wasn't clear to you?
No.
Okay. Well, like I said, it's going to be an interesting case.
Like if there was a tornado and they ordered him back inside,
that's one of the reasons.
Under the fact that there's a tornado, I order you back inside.
But I think you should be able to go out during a tornado. You should be able to go out during a hurricane. You should be able to.
I agree with you, but that's not what that statute says.
Oh, I know that.
But
it also
I don't think that statute covers this.
Yes,
because
so I'm going to make the state's argument here. Okay, I don't agree. I think people should be able to leave their homes even during dangerous circumstances here. But Section 4 of the very lengthy disorderly conduct statute not only mentions fire, storm, flood, earthquake, explosion, but also riot, ongoing criminal activity that poses a risk of bodily injury or other disaster. And they're going to claim they believe there was a murderer holed up in a house nearby. And so, therefore, there is a risk of bodily injury. And so, therefore, they have, quote, the officer may close the area where the threat exists and the adjacent area necessary to control the threat.
But he didn't state that was the case. He didn't state
but it doesn't
that
say they
he
have
was
to.
Closing the area under that authority. I mean, so you can't make a statute that's so vague that it doesn't mean anything.
Sure, they can. It's all up to the interpretation of the judges. So the statute's
I also don't think
written.
there was an ongoing crime. I don't think there's any remotely reasonable way to say there was an ongoing crime that was a danger.
There was an alleged gunshot.
The homicide already happened, or at least that's what they were claiming.
But how do they know it's not a murderer who's on the loose? One person's been killed. There could be another one.
Because they were saying the guy, he wasn't. He was in Mass or Vermont or Maine or wherever he was. But they were saying he was in this house. So if he's in this house, how can he also be in this alleyway? I mean, that's pretty basic physics.
Well, he could shoot out of the house, and a random bullet could have been fired to hit you if you're outside of your house. Of course, it could also go through the wall of your own home and then kill you in there, too.
I mean, what kind of gun does this guy have if he
Who
were
knows?
several houses
They don't
down?
know. It's
How do
scary.
they not
You're supposed to
know?
be scared, Melanie. You're supposed to be scared of this murderer who's allegedly in the vicinity. Here's a little bit more from the video.
Cite the law. You can't cite the law? What are you going to arrest me for? This isn't disorderly conduct, sir.
Listen, this is a public scene. It's called disorderly conduct. It's that simple.
I'll stop talking to you then.
A public scene.
Walk back, please.
So up until this point, the officer was across the street.
I'm probably about to get arrested.
He then begins crossing, comes right up to Jeremy.
Walk back, please.
Under what law?
Walk back.
What law?
Please, 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 he says.
You see this house? Walk back, please.
Sir, why are you touching
this
that?
house?
No.
Okay.
Arrest me.
And that's it. That's where the video cuts off. There's more coming up here in moments. Melanie, did you find the story about the high school being shut down nearby?
Yeah.
Because this is even more outrageous, apparently. Apparently, students kept inside the school overnight? This is Free Talk Live. We'll continue.
Long distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body.
Get relief for your neck or back pain when you search Amazon for Sunshine Pillows, heating wraps, and pads, often listed as an Amazon choice. Why take another pill? Now, from Sunny Bay and by customer demand, we introduce our extra long neck heating wrap, a complete wrap, wide and hands-free, and brings fast relief to those who suffer from neck or back pain.
You can easily find Sunshine Pillows on Amazon.
Or search Amazon for our new Sunny Bay disposable heat pads. Or look for Sunny Bay heated neck wraps for relief from back pain to menstrual pain and cramps.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck, or back, or shoulder.
See why our company, Biomed DB Design, has a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. Just go to Amazon.com and search Sunny Bay, or call us 253-678-1361.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, September 10th, 2018. Silver's trading at $14.19 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,194 per ounce. Zen is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,302. Antiwar.com reports 17 years into the war in Afghanistan, the Pentagon has gone through several periods of trying to sell the American public on the ideal that the war isn't a disastrous failure. This is increasingly difficult because the war is going really badly. But lying works sometimes, and the Pentagon has made that standard operating procedure in Afghanistan. The Pentagon estimates on the war are often exaggerated and many times simply fabricated outright. The Pentagon estimates that the Taliban controls or contest 44% of the country. Analysts say the real figure is closer to 61%. Many districts the U.S. does not consider contested have the Afghan government controlling the capital and little else. U.S. figures show Afghanistan having 314,000 troops and the Taliban having about 25,000. Afghan officials say the Taliban is actually closer to 77,000, while the estimate of Afghan forces ignores that about a third of them are ghost soldiers who exist only on paper. In individual incidents, the Pentagon reports tend to be wildly inaccurate, as well as with the the Taliban's brief capture of the city of Ghazni. The Pentagon declared this a failed Taliban push the day it happened and downplayed it as minimal. Fighting raged for most of the week, with the Pentagon never admitting just what a big fight it actually was. All of these statements are part of a broad effort to paint the Afghan war as at least somewhat less dire than it actually is. It is rare for them to be called on such deception, though if history is any indication, the latest report will not change the Pentagon strategy. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports Dallas police officer Amber Geiger was arrested Sunday night and faces manslaughter charges after she entered the wrong apartment, believing it was hers, and fatally shot a man in his own home. Geiger was booked into the Kaufman County Jail, and her bail was set at $300,000. The incident occurred Thursday night when Geiger, who was off duty but still in uniform, entered the apartment of Botham Jean, believing it was her apartment. She then shot Jean, who died of gunshot wounds on his way to the hospital. Police have not said how Geiger, who lives in the same building, was able to enter the apartment. Geiger was not arrested until almost 3 days after the shooting. Dallas Police Chief Renee Hall said on Friday that authorities were preparing a warrant to arrest Geiger on manslaughter charges, but that was postponed when the investigation was handed over to the Texas Rangers. Attorney Lee Merritt, who is representing Jean's family, said the delay in charging Geiger only worsened an already tragic situation. At a press conference on Sunday, Merritt said he was presented video evidence and witness testimony to police that contradicts the police narrative of what happened during the shooting. However, he did not give specifics on what that evidence shows. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports firefighters battled over the weekend to outflank a wildfire that has forced the closure of an interstate highway in Northern California as the blaze swept through explosively dry mountain timber in the Shasta Trinity National Forest. As of late Saturday, the Delta Fire had scorched more than 40,500 acres in the Cascade Range since erupting on Wednesday in a forest canyon along the Sacramento River about 250 miles north of San Francisco. No serious injuries or deaths had been reported, but the blaze has caused major travel disruptions. On Wednesday, flames raced across Interstate 5, chasing a number of truckers from their vehicles before flames engulfed their abandoned rigs. A 45-mile stretch of I-5, a key north-south route through the entire state, has remained closed since then, requiring traffic detours of up to 120 miles. Although the containment of the blaze remained at zero, crews have made gains, clearing away tinder dry brush beyond its leading edge. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
George W. Bush may be retired from politics, but he's keeping busy with his new hobby of painting. Today, the Picasso-in-chief tweeted his latest picture, a turkey sandwich and glass of lemonade in front of the ghost of the Iraqi child that follows him everywhere. Rebecca Mera has been following the flourishing art career. He's pretty good, Rebecca.
Yeah, well, Rachel, Bush doesn't claim to be a great artist, but as he put it, not bad for an old man, huh?
Not bad at all. He says he likes painting simple things he sees in everyday life, like his dogs, that dead Iraqi child. You can see that Bush's art is improving over time if you take a look. At first, he could barely draw the Iraqi child's transparent hands, but now they look much more realistic.
Much more. You know, I'm not surprised that he's getting better. Bush practices constantly.
And Laura Bush says he's more focused than ever, locks himself away for hours at a time and won't talk to anyone while he's painting.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if history will look back on Bush as a politician or the next Rembrandt. Up next, a study found that drinking red wine once a day can help the body get hammered.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. Our toll-free number tonight for you is 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. What is a financial abortion? I have no idea. But Melanie's going to tell us about it coming up here in a little bit. We've been talking about disorderly conduct. It's one of the favorite catch-all charges for the police to throw at somebody that they just don't like. You do something that police don't like, they'll throw you, a disorderly conduct charge. In the case of our guest in the first hour, Jeremy Kauffman from Library, LBRY.io, the blockchain-based media protocol, decentralized video uploading, basically is what it is, and it's pretty great. They arrested him for trying to leave his house, for trying to walk off of his property, originally he was trying to drive away, and they wouldn't let him walk away either. It was during a lockdown in which they had locked down a fairly large swath of downtown Manchester, it sounds like, streets away, apparently, from the alleged incident where the police were investigating a homicide. However, the very person that the police were looking for, turns out he wasn't even there in the building. And so they basically had this lockdown for 9 or 10 hours for, no reason whatsoever, because there's nobody in the building. But beyond that, even if the alleged killer was holed up in that particular building, I'm sorry, I don't think the police should be able to tell you where you can't go. I think you should be able to take a risk. And in this case, he was actually trying to just leave his home so he could go pick his son up from a babysitter. I think you should be the one who's taking a risk. The police should be able to inform you of what was going on. In this case, they did not. They just told him, you got to stay in your home. Go back in your home. And they wouldn't tell him why. They just said, it's a public area, or public scene, I think was the word. It's a public scene, said the officer who was threatening him.
Which seemed more in reference to what he was doing than being a crime. That to me, that sounded more like you're making a scene, not
they definitely
this is
made
a crime scene.
They definitely made a scene. I mean, the cops love to bring out their toys. They love to bring out their guns, their Bearcats. I'm sure. I don't know if the Bearcat was there. I wasn't there. But it sounded like they brought out quite a bit of hardware. He said there were dozens of police that were occupying the streets. And so disorderly conduct is that charge that they just love to bring against you. And we were discussing kind of the legalities of this. I was sharing some of the statute here in New Hampshire, which is a fairly lengthy statute, and there's a lot of nebulous language in here that allows the police to do a whole lot of stuff that I don't think they should be able to do, like lock down an area, including not just the area in which the incident is allegedly happening. So again, let's say the killer, there was a killer and that he was actually in the house, which he wasn't. But let's say there was. Okay, I could understand, hey, we're not going to let you go knock on that guy's door during this standoff. I could see that one, right? Oh, there's somebody with a gun inside.
Right, yeah. So, and I don't know that statute allows you to just lock off an area because there is some other area that is in danger.
It does. It says you can lock down any adjacent area. Now, how long of a distance adjacent means is another question. Is it the house next door, or is it 3 streets away?
Right. So if they were like, well, there's a volcano in the State House right now, and there's lava flowing onto the floor, so we're not going to let you in the State House, and we're not going to let you on the streets that go around it either. Like, okay, but then that doesn't mean you can lock down, the other side of town.
That's the question, is how far is far enough? How far is too far? And this was one of the questions that was brought up in the James Cleveland case, where our friend and co-host James Cleveland, a.k.a. Robin Hood,
but not really, because that was a jury trial, not an appeal.
Well, no. It was part of the James Cleveland case, was how far can a officer legally order you to back off?
Right, but so it was a jury trial, which means that we don't know what was an issue in the James Cleveland case.
Well, no, I'm saying it was an issue because it was brought up. It was a subject at controversy during the trial, because the police are going to say, well, we can just back you up as far as we want. Is 2 miles too far? And these were some of the questions that were talked about in the case. So it was definitely at issue because it was something that the jury had to take under consideration as far as, is this person guilty of disorderly conduct? In the case of James Cleveland, he did move back when he was ordered to move back, but when he was ordered to move back a second or third time, whichever one it was, because he moved back once, and then I think he might have moved back a second time a little bit further, and then eventually James planted his feet down, and he said, no, I feel safe here, I'm not going to move back any further. And there weren't any arbitrary or visible police lines that had been set up. It was just an officer continuing to tell him to move back. And that ended up being a hung jury 6-6 on that particular case. So half the jury thought he should have been moving back further, and the other half thought he was within his rights.
So that's no relevance to really anything other than to James Cleveland. Not only do you not have an appeal, which is the only thing that would be precedent, at the end of the day, what you have is a null pros. The fact that the prosecutor decided to null pros after that hung jury, right. I can't cite that in a case. I can't do anything with that.
No, I get what you're saying. You're saying legally it's not precedent. That makes sense. But it was still at issue, and it will likely be at issue in this particular trial. Well, how far away was he? Was he 3 streets away? Well, that wasn't really made too clear as to, where was this situation, this alleged situation actually happening? And how far away from an alleged situation can the police control an area? These are questions that remain unanswered, basically. And obviously the police are going to say, well, we can do it as far away as we want to. 5 miles? No problem. Because they're the cops, and they're going to push for the ultimate control. They're going to push for the ultimate so-called authority over any given swath of land, and the job of the freedom advocates here is going to be to push in the other direction, saying, well, this is unreasonable. I mean, this is clearly unreasonable. This alleged murderer was 3 houses away or 3 streets away or whatever the distance was. Like I said, it's going to be an interesting trial. Let's go to the phones here, your calls and thoughts, and then we'll talk about more disorderly conduct-related news. I've actually had this one in my show prep for a couple of weeks about Myrtle Beach, where they apparently are going to be considering disorderly conduct charges for people who say things that they don't like. And we can get to that coming up here in a moment. But first, Daryl is on the line in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hello, Daryl. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hello, Ian. I noticed your name. It's actually... Oh, I apologize.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Kind of my point is a little bit less sentient now, but I still will make it because your name is I was going to say Ian Freeman, I am free man. You know what I mean?
Very observant. Cool. Yeah, that wasn't my intention when I did that, but somebody pointed that out to me, and that's cool, man. So what were you calling about tonight?
Well, I was curious. I got my shirt off, but then you got your shirt on today, and I'm like, what? How come the shirt's on today?
It's getting cold
ma'am,
here.
I don't know if you know.
It's getting cold here in New Hampshire.
I don't know if you know, ma'am, but I'm a big fan here, and I was watching the other night, and this fella's got his shirt off while he's doing the show. So I'm just curious, how come you all had your shirt off that day?
Well, you do understand that it gets hot and cold in places. Here in New Hampshire, it can be very hot, and then it can get very cold shortly thereafter. So it's been pretty cold here, Daryl. I hope that helps you. I'm sorry to disappoint. Thanks for the call. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. Some people really are interested in the shirt status of some of the hosts, because sometimes we have Topless Wednesdays here.
You did kind of make it a big deal at one point.
We made it a big deal?
Yeah, you announced
we called it Topless Tuesdays
or whatever.
Yeah, well, actually, that was something that happened in Keene years ago, was Topless Tuesdays at Central Square.
Oh, yeah, but it was on the show at one point.
Oh, yeah, it was definitely on the show as well, because Conan was in, and Conan almost always comes in with his shirt off, and I frequently have my shirt off because it's hot during the summertime here in New Hampshire, and it's not that particularly cold in the studio either, so I'm comfy, and I'll do what I damn well please, because it's my studio. Anyway, if you want to see the studio, you can go to twitch.lrn.fm, and that is where we have our HD quality Twitch feed, and that is essentially a video streaming website, mostly for video game streaming, and every now and then we will actually have game streaming on the LRN channel, but that's where we put our video feed up primarily. We're also available on YouTube. So check it out over at twitch.lrn.fm. Don't forget to follow our channel on Twitch, and then you'll get notices if you'd like. You can get them via email or via the Twitch app if you have that installed on your phone. You'll get notices when we go live and also when other shows go live. So Call to Freedom is another great show that airs on lrn.fm right before our show does. So you can get notices for all that if you follow our channel over at twitch.lrn.fm. More about disorderly conduct, the police favorite catch-all charge, coming up here in moments, and you can share your calls and thoughts here on Free Talk Live.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The Crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the Crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the Crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink, like we have. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hey, it is Free Talk Live, and of course you can bring up whatever is on your mind. Our toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms that are available to you. Go to discord.lrn.fm. It's our chat server. That's what Discord is. It's an easy way for you to interact with other Free Talk Live listeners before, during, and after the show. There are different channels on the Discord server. Of course, there's one for Free Talk Live, where people hang out during the show frequently. But there are other channels as well, that, you know, like topics like gaming or cryptocurrency or music, which is one of the newest ones. So go check that out over at discord.lrn.fm. And it is free, by the way, so it's easy to get on the Discord app at discordapp.com. Just go download that, create your username and password, and then go to, in your web browser, go to discord.lrn.fm, and it'll jump you right into our server. It's Ian and Melanie here in the studio tonight. We're talking about the police and them just arbitrarily being able to decide, well, we're going to lock down this area. And I remember one of the most outrageous examples of this, of course, was out of Boston, probably a decade ago. Maybe you recall hearing the story.
When they just locked down Boston, basically.
They locked down blocks and like 10 blocks of Boston, downtown Boston, over some Light-Bright boards. Do you remember hearing that story?
The Light-Bright boards.
Light-Bright. Remember? You don't remember Light-Bright when you were growing up? Maybe
I was thinking of when they locked it down for the bombing, which at least made a little bit more sense.
Oh no! You're thinking about the Boston Marathon bombing.
Yeah.
No, this was way before that. This was years before that. This would have been. It must have been like a decade ago, because we had Zebler on, who was one of the two people who was involved in this so-called crime of placing Light-Bright boards. Now, Light-Bright, in case you don't recall, maybe it was already done for by the time you were growing up.
Little plastic pegs that you stick in the
right. It's a light board.
Construction paper.
I think it's like a plastic board with the light pegs that you stick in. And
you put paper over the light bulb.
Do you put paper? Maybe you've actually used the thing. I don't know. I feel like I probably used it when I was a kid, but I don't remember much about it. But anyway, it lights up. And you make designs on these things. So what they made was Moonanites, which was one of the characters from a show called Aqua Teen Hunger Force. So they made these Moonanite boards, and one of the Moonanites, I guess, is flipping the bird in their little Light-Bright version. And so they put these Moonanites up, and I think it was just a promotional. I think it was they were hired by Cartoon Network to do this as a promotion, sort of like an underground hip promotion of this television program. And they didn't think that this was going to be seen as a potential bomb threat. But
because neither does any sane person.
Right. So
even a little bit of sane. You don't even got to be completely sane.
But some insane person called the police and said they saw these things and they thought they were dangerous or whatever. The police treated them as though they were bombs. They locked down swaths of the city and cost taxpayers who knows how much money. I think there were some estimates at the time, and of course it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm less worried about the wasteful spending than I am about the hostage taking.
Well, right, the lack of freedom, the inability to leave one's own home, which of course also happened during the actual Boston bombing years ago, where they locked down a large swath of Watertown and went literally door to door with guns, pointing them at people's homes, as the police in full military gear went, again, home to home, room to room, searching for these alleged bombers, ultimately failing to find them until a individual happened to notice a trail of blood being going into his boat in his backyard. And he only happened to notice that because he went and violated the police's no leave your home's order so he could go outside and smoke a cigarette. So this whole lockdown thing actually made it harder to find the alleged bombers. Because if the police had actually had average people out and about looking around their environment, they might have noticed sooner rather than later this individual who was in the boat. But again, the cops get no credit whatsoever for finding the guy that was in the boat. All that credit goes to, I think it was either a homeowner or renter or whoever it was there on that particular property. And the same thing was true years ago. You remember the D.C. shootings where they kept on capping people at gas stations?
Yeah, that guy was from New Orleans.
Oh, one of them was from New Orleans. The other one wasn't, though?
I don't know.
Well,
I just remember them saying that, because it was on the radio in New Orleans that he was from New Orleans.
So in that situation, again, it was a tip from an individual that led the police to these two people. It wasn't the dragnet of cops. It wasn't the whatever searches that they were doing, the shutting down of areas and searching. None of that stuff actually worked. So again, keeping people in their homes actually seems to be a detriment to finding a criminal who's at large. But that's what happened. It's what happened in Manchester over the weekend, or actually on Friday. And then, Melanie, you had a related story, and I guess I got a detail wrong The statement was that students were held in the school overnight, and you say you saw that somewhere on social media, but that's not what the media, the real media, is reporting. They're claiming it was a 9-hour lockdown, which means it would have gone likely into the evening. It was probably dark.
But I don't know when that was 9 hours from. I know that it was still locked down at night.
They say the lockdown began at 11 a.m. So,
right, but they're in school, trapped in school at 11 a.m.
Correct.
Anyway, so
but
that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It went 9 hours beyond that. So it sounds like the earliest they would have gotten out of the school is 8 p.m. at night. So it would have been fully dark out in Manchester, New Hampshire at that point. And was there details you wanted to share from that particular story about the lockdown?
I mean, just it was locked down. They were telling kids they couldn't leave. I mean, that's really all there is to it.
Well, I did see some of the posts from students who were upset about this. There's some social media, because obviously they all got their phones with them, right? So they're able to tweet and post updates to social media about what's going on. And one student was saying, according to, I think this is, was it Boston25news.com, they had one student saying, "Mom, they're not letting me leave." This was at 1:49 in the afternoon, so that must be right around time when school gets out. Why? She says, and I'm getting pissed off, like they said that we may have to stay here until 5 because of the shooting. Mom says, "What shooting?" Student says, "I'm getting mad. Mom, if they don't let me leave at 2:30, I'm walking out. I don't care." Now, I want to know if that student actually did.
Probably not. That just sounds like something you would say when you're like, "Well, I'm just going to go to the bank and tell them to fix the account." Like, no, you're not. Like, no, you're not. Like,
well, now, hold on. Now, there are some kids with the huevos to do something like this. See, I can imagine myself actually doing something like that.
I can imagine myself saying something like that and then not doing it.
So there actually was a lockdown on Keene State College campus a few years ago while me and I think a couple other Liberty activists were there having breakfast. And there was a shooting across the street from the college. They locked down the college and were trying to telling students they couldn't leave the student dining commons. Well, we just went ahead and left anyway. So
so that's a little bit different. So if there's an active shooter in the gun-free zone that I'm in, maybe I want to leave. But
well, what if I want to leave anyway? That was the thing. They were telling people they couldn't leave. We just went ahead and left anyway. Because it should be your risk to take.
All right,
there's more coming up here.
Unrisk in that situation.
Well, I mean, there actually was a shooting going on in this particular case, in the case of Keene State College, across the street. More coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
It's the Onion Radio News. A crazy man announces plans to stand in a doorway and yell at cars. This is Doyle Redland reporting. Dennis Fife, an Alhambra, California crazy man, held a press conference today to announce his intention to stand in the doorway of the office building at 2600 Kenilworth Avenue and yell at cars all day.
At approximately 9:30 a.m. on the day in question, shortly after I finish lunging at dogs, I will proceed to the front steps of the Simmons building and yell loudly for 9 hours. The screaming will be broken by a 15-minute fit of rigid catatonia, most likely in the late afternoon.
Among the topics Fife plans to address during his 9-hour rant, the ace of diamonds, bookshelves, the man trying to kill him, plastic bags in trees, Trapper John MD, and papers everywhere. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we've got on-air call-in lines on our Discord chat. If you want to sound like you are sitting in the studio with us, then go grab the Discord app for your favorite operating system or smartphone and jump into our on-air call-in line rooms, and we'll join you there, and you'll sound great with us. The Discord server, by the way, is discord.lrn.fm. Free Talk Live brought to you by Bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com wants you to know that Save It Purse is now accepting Bitcoin Cash as one of their 2 main deposit cryptocurrencies. What is Save It Purse? SaveAtPurse.com allows you to save big time on your purchases at Amazon. No joke, I do it all the time. Whenever it is I need to get something from Amazon, which recently I put in quite a few orders because we're opening up what we're going to call a Bitcoin embassy here in New Hampshire, here in Keene, very soon. It's actually in process of being remodeled right now for grand opening, hopefully within the next week. But I ordered almost everything that we needed through Amazon, and I got 20 to 29% off. The only reason why I got 20% off of one thing was because one of the items that we tried for 29, there's like an issue with the order, and anyway, we had to change the item, and we got to be in more of a hurry. So if you're not in a hurry, you can put it at like 29%. Sometimes you can go up to 33% off, and if you're patient, eventually it might sell. Somebody might buy that thing for you, and then they get your Bitcoin, or they get your Bitcoin Cash, because you can now use Bitcoin Cash as your deposit currency. You can save big time on whatever it is you were probably going to buy anyway. And why pay full price? If you've got Bitcoin Cash on hand, you can now deposit it over at SaveItPurse.com and save big on your Amazon purchases. SaveAtPurse.com. Let's go to the phones. To the phone. We've been talking mostly about disorderly conduct as a ridiculous crime, that so-called crime that the police have the ability to charge people with. Vernon, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead. What's on your mind tonight?
Earlier, y'all were talking about bail bonds and a ridiculous story. I just wanted to share one.
Sure.
I was up in Tennessee a few weeks ago, and my brother-in-law got arrested on a misdemeanor warrant, and so he didn't know the address I was staying at, and so he was put in the system as homeless. Well, they ended up putting that in, and if you don't put an address in the jail database properly, then you can't actually use a bail bondsman, or no bail bondsman will actually help you out because you listed homeless. And so I called the jail on multiple times trying to get the address fixed, and told them that they didn't know the address. He didn't know the address, and they said, well, he's going to have to be the one to tell the pod officer his correct address. And I was like, well, how am I supposed to tell him to tell the pod officer? They were like, well, you can try to send him an email through this thing. So I went to this website where you can send emails per cost, and I bought like $10 worth of credit. Well, he never checks that, and it said then they have this iPad thing where they can check out an iPad for 24 hours, unlimited use, I guess, to send messages, and so I did that.
Where is this? This is in New Orleans?
No. This is in Tennessee. I was in Tennessee a few weeks ago.
Tennessee. I'm sorry, I missed that detail. Okay. They'll let the prisoner check out an iPad for how long? 20 minutes?
4 hours, but you can only send emails and be very limited things. Like, you can't surf the internet.
Oh, it's probably locked down.
Yeah. But still.
Yeah, I put money on the phone. I tried everything I could to try to get him to pay attention, and never check the iPad, never check the phone. And so, anyways, I ended up calling every bail bondsman in town, and I finally thought I found someone that would meet me up there. And so I drive up to the jail. The bail bondsman stands me up because they say that they're not going to do, yet again, they're not going to bail someone out that put homeless down, even though I told him on the phone that he had put homeless. So I really lucked out. When I got to the jail, there was a nice lady, a bail lady, that actually said, "Okay, I'll help you out." But then you have to pay 10% of the bond plus a $20 fee. And
you don't get that back. That goes to the bondsman.
Right, you don't get that back. And I could have actually put the money down myself, but the problem with that is that they're going to take out court costs plus whatever other stuff, to satisfy that. So you're screwed either way. Like, it's crazy.
Oh yeah, they've got you over a barrel, and you were already pointing out some of the things in these jail systems where they charge you out the yin yang for access to things like a very restricted email system. They of course have phone calls that they charge you an arm and a leg for, and there's just so much money to be made off of what is ultimately the backs of the poorest of the poor. I mean, for the most part, right? For the most part, the people in jail tend to be poor. They tend to be people who don't have a whole lot of money and a lot of means, and if they had a job, they probably lost it because they got put in jail. So it gets harder and harder for them to actually pay all of these fines. And then, of course, eventually, if you don't pay the fines, they'll put you back in jail. And some jails, I don't know if Tennessee is that way, but in some jails, they don't do it this way up here, thank goodness, but in some jails, they actually charge you per day. So not only are the taxpayers charged whatever arbitrary amount they're being taxed to support these jails, they actually hit the prisoners or the inmates with a per-day fee. So then when they get out of jail, they then have a hefty bill that they owe to the jail. And, of course, that keeps them in this sort of cycle of poverty and this cycle of debt that they can never really, truly escape from. And before they know it, they're back on the inside.
Absolutely. And $1.75 a minute to set up a phone call. Nobody can collect calls anymore. And then if you want to set up a video, you can actually set up a video visit where, you're Skyping with them. But they were like, well, why don't you set one of those up, and then you can tell him to change his address. Well, those were almost a week out, and then they were inconvenient. And they, you think that it's a video call, and they have the iPad that I had already paid for them to check out, so they could just Skype with me whenever. No, they have set times, and I mean,
times you're allowed to be on TV. I've never had problems taking collect calls from jails, though. That is like everything else. I 100% agree with you with.
But he couldn't call. You can't call into a jail.
No, you can't call in.
And if your friend doesn't know your phone number, then how do you get them the number? Okay. That was what you were running into.
But you can't take a collect call if you have a cell phone. You have to have a landline.
I've done it.
I've
done it from several jails.
Okay, so things are getting better at some jails, but probably not getting better at other jails. And what's happening is there are phone systems like Securus and others. These systems that are.
That's the one.
It was Securus. Yeah. So
I'm taking phone calls from Securus.
Right. So what they have to do usually, though, is they have to put money onto their own account in order to dial out to a cell phone. So they'll allow call outs to cell phone, but that's different than a collect call to a landline. In the case
of one free call, and then whenever it calls you, like I was the recipient of the free call, and it's like it has this big advertisement. Hey, here's how you put money on his books. Go to this website, and then at the very end it goes, if you want to accept the call, press 1. If you want to block it, press 2. And if you don't do that, then you don't get that one free call that they have.
Correct.
I mean, it's crazy.
It is a crazy system. It's super abusive towards the poorest of the poor.
Well, some jails, or I don't know if this is a time difference or an area difference, because I wasn't having calls from all the jails at the same time, but some of them, the person had money on their account, and then I just had to press 1, and some of them, it was billed to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Those will be, it's unlikely that they're going to be able to bill to your cell phone number because I don't think the same collect calling system works
I've done it.
like that. Really?
Yeah.
You've seen jail calls on a cell phone bill?
You can't do that. We tried that.
I've never heard of that.
They had a prepay with that Securus thing. I could put a credit card down. And then
you normally have to pay in. You normally have to pay in into an account. I've only ever heard of a collect call affecting a landline. Usually you can't even receive them on a cell phone. That's my experience. But again, every system's different. Maybe it's something that in Louisiana that's unusual. But Vernon, you're in Louisiana.
I live in Louisiana, but I frequent up to Tennessee.
It doesn't matter where he is. It matters where the jail is, I would imagine.
Unless there's some sort of rules in the phone systems in each state that
I did hear that New York City. I read an article in the Wall Street Journal a few weeks ago that said that I think New York City was now going to allow free phone calls. So I thought, and I could be wrong, but somewhere in New York.
I don't believe
That's what I read. I mean, Google News.
Free jail phone calls or free phone calls for anybody?
No, free jail phones. Like they weren't going to charge.
Way.
I
no
could
way.
be wrong.
No way. Those prisoners will be on the phone all day. I mean, to some extent, the cost keeps people off the phones.
I don't know. I could be wrong, but Google News that free phone call New York or jail. I don't know.
All right. Hey, Vernon, thanks for the call tonight. I'm actually glad you brought that up because it reminded me I've got a related story about these phone jail systems or jail phone systems here that we can tell you about because there's a great organization that keeps tabs on things that go on inside prisons. And I've actually been sitting on this one for a little bit, so let me see if I can dig that up. Since you brought it up, more coming up here, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now, you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Broadcasting to over 1,000 radio stations, GCN programming is in all of the largest markets. A GCN advertising career could be the business opportunity you've been waiting for. Companies need hardworking representatives just like you to handle their needs, while you earn residual income which can last for years. Companies are buying and they need you. Email advertise@gcnlive.com or call 877-996-4327. That's 877-996-4327.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original, most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free here. Bring up what you want. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We do have our Discord on-air call-in line rooms. They're open for you over at discord.lrn.fm. We went from talking about disorderly conduct as a BS catch-all charge to talking about the BS of the prison phone industry. We had a gentleman call in from Louisiana complaining about a situation in which he was trying to reach a friend inside a facility and how very difficult that can be. And that also led to a discussion of these prison phone providers like Securus Technologies that is essentially a government-approved monopoly, right? Like you can't choose. If you're a prisoner, you don't get to choose your options of which phone provider you get to use in there. You use whatever they give you. And what they give you is going to charge you an arm and a leg just to try to call home and talk to your family or, talk to your loved ones outside. And I have a story that actually came up this year in Prison Legal News, which is an excellent publication. They've been around for years, and they publish a monthly publication that is, about 60, 70 pages long every single month. It's chock full of useful stories. If you care about prison reform and you care about, how ridiculous these prisons and jails around the country treat these the inmates and prisoners, this is one of the best organizations that reports on what goes on out there. And they're reporting for the benefit of prisoners in a lot of cases. I'm sure most of their subscribers are on the inside of various different facilities. So here's the headline from July of 2018. Steve Horn reporting for Prison Legal News, their website, prisonlegalnews.org. The prison phone industry has quietly become even more of a duopoly. In little-noticed regulatory filings in New York, Maryland, West Virginia, Ohio, and Arizona, in May of 2018, telecom company Securus Technologies solidified its grip over the prison and jail phone service industry by announcing its acquisition of one of its competitors, ICS Solutions, also known as ICS. First reported by Law 360. The purchase further consolidates the duopoly of the prison telecom market, which is now largely split between Securus and another competitor called Global Tellink, or GTL. GTL and Securus currently own over 70% of the prison and jail phone industry, according to data crunched by the Prison Policy Initiative, a criminal justice research and advocacy organization. The regulatory filings, joint petitions by Securus and IC Solutions regarding the acquisition also included the private equity firm TKC Holdings, the company that owned IC Solutions. TKC also owns Trinity Services Group and Keefe Group, which provide food and commissary services to prisons and jails. So this TKC Holdings is a company that makes buku bucks off of these prisons all across the United States, because ultimately they can. The companies providing these services get into sweetheart deals with the prison or jail in question. The jail and the prison gets a cut of every single phone call that is being made, and so they have an incentive. The jail has an incentive to sign these agreements with them. The filing state that Securus will acquire all the issued and outstanding membership interests of ICS. As a result, ICS will become a wholly owned direct subsidiary of Securus. Petitioners intend to consummate the transaction as promptly as possible after the necessary federal and state regulatory approvals have been received. Unquote. Just a week before the announcement of the acquisition, the New York Times revealed the former Missouri sheriff, Corey Hutchinson, had been indicted for using Securus' telephone system at his jail to obtain location data on cell phone customers without a court order. Put another way, Securus' platform can be abused by law enforcement officials to spy on people who receive calls from their incarcerated loved ones. Officially, as the regulatory filings in New York and West Virginia point out, there are other competitors in the prison and jail telecom market besides Securus and GTL, including Legacy Long Distance, Network Communications International Corporation, Paytel, and Legacy Inmate Communications. But by and large, Securus and GTL dominate the industry, and IC Solutions was already in a distant fourth place behind GTL, Securus, and CenturyLink. The regulatory filings noted that Securus would now have an even greater opportunity to market its telecommunications services to prisoners, including tablet devices. This is what our caller was talking about. They didn't have these when I was in jail for a couple of months for civil disobedience back in 2011, but now apparently, quote, inmate calling can also be permitted from these tablets, further facilitating the ability of inmates to connect with their friends and family. Now, our caller said that wasn't an option for him, and that's because these are just options. So if the jail wants to allow inmates to make calls, then this is an option for them.
And they're going to base that on their budget and how much money the inmate has and how secure the facility is and everything else.
I suspect
it's new,
Securus,
so everybody's not going to have it.
Well, I suspect Securus will provide the tablet. That would be my guess. Securus will likely provide the tablet, given that they're going to make a bunch of money off of it.
Well, I mean, it still depends on how much money the person has in that case.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's $20 per visit here in Keene. And that's, again, I don't know if they are using tablets here. As of the most recent time I checked into it, you had to go in and schedule a time on which you could then connect with the person you want to connect with. So you go back in on the scheduled date, and then you have to sit in a little room, and the prisoner has to go up to a phone that's on a wall. And then they can, take the phone and talk to you on it. If you've seen Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree at Victimless Crime Spree.
I've seen the video. Yeah. I've seen the video, jail video phones.
That's what that
visits on TV, and then the glass wall in real life.
Right. So the prisoner is using a phone with a screen on it, and that screen, normally it connects to the rooms that the visitors can go into. They sit in a little room, and then they can talk to the prisoner. But there's also a remote link option. So if you aren't in the town and you don't want to come to the jail, you can actually connect online through some sort of, this Securus has this technology to do that. And to their credit, that's pretty useful, right? Like I'll give them credit. I mean, I'm no fan of these phone systems or whatever, but if you've got a loved one,
I don't consider them to be real companies.
What do you mean?
Well, they're not. I don't consider them to be private companies.
Well, I mean, they're not state owned.
That doesn't mean they're private.
Well, I don't know who owns them, but they're not state actors.
That's fine. That doesn't mean okay. So if the state contracts the building of a jail out to a private company, it's not.
So you're saying Chris
free
Wade?
Market
You're saying Chris Wade, who sells some, who's our Friday night co-host, who sells computer parts. If he sells to the government, he's no longer a private company?
Okay, so if you own a grocery store and a cop happens to walk in and buy lunch, that's not your problem. If you own, a business that does nothing other than cater to the government,
I see.
You're not a private entity.
So you're saying if 100% of the business is government, then you're not.
Yeah, Securus is not a private company.
Okay, all right, that's an interesting argument. But either way, unlike the government, they do have some level of innovation here, right?
Well, they still have some profit incentives.
Right, so they've innovated this ability for people to connect to a prisoner remotely, which is a new thing, right? You used to have to go to the jail. You had to, submit your ID to the jail, and then you had to wait around, and then they'd let you in, and you could visit the person.
I don't know if it's a net positive, though, because I can see them using that as an excuse to get rid of in-person visits.
Oh, they have. Here in New Hampshire,
that's not good.
You're in a separate room. So it used to be at the old jail that you would actually see the real-life person. They would actually get the inmate. They'd pull them down from population. They'd take them with a guard to a room, and then you were on sort of like the classic movie situation, right, where there's the phone, you lift up the handset of the phone, they lift up their handset, and you can talk to them. You can actually see them in front of you. They got rid of that a decade ago when they moved to the new jail here in Keene, and now you go to the jail, but you sit in a concrete room in which there's a phone mounted to the wall with a video camera.
There's not even a trade-off, which is what I understood the situation in Keene to be, but I wasn't sure. There's not even a trade-off, whereas if you could just log into your tablet from wherever, at least there's a trade-off there.
Right, and now you can do that.
Getting rid of visits is not a good plan.
The difference is they charge you if you're doing it remotely, but you don't have to pay if you go to the jail.
Well, right, but if you have a friend in, if you're in Keene in jail and you have a friend in, Southern California or Florida, somewhere far away, there's a benefit to that. Whereas if you have to show up anyway, then there's no benefit you're getting in exchange for that.
Well, in the case of this, showing up, the benefit is you don't have to pay. If you're remote, you got to pay $20 for 10 minutes or whatever the length of time is that they let you have.
Showing up and not getting to see them in person. So basically, you have to show up and
avoid
effectively.
A charge.
No, but you have to show up effectively to FaceTime them.
That's correct.
Or Skype that versus
paying $20.
Versus having a visit.
Well, that's just not even on the table anymore.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Right, so now you have the choice
there's no benefit for that trade-off. Whereas if it's remote, at least there's a benefit for the trade-off of no more visits.
But you're still paying $20 if it's remote, so they hit you for the $20. So you pay by either the time and the effort of going to the jail, or you pay for the $20 of setting up at home. And then, of course, you have to allow Securus and their software on your computer, which is another problem. There's more coming up here. Free Talk Live.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied, but you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, September 10th, 2018. Silver's trading at $14.19 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,194 per ounce. Zen is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,302. Antiwar.com reports 17 years into the war in Afghanistan, the Pentagon has gone through several periods of trying to sell the American public on the ideal that the war isn't a disastrous failure. This is increasingly difficult because the war is going really badly. But lying works sometimes, and the Pentagon has made that standard operating procedure in Afghanistan. The Pentagon estimates on the war are often exaggerated and many times simply fabricated outright. The Pentagon estimates that the Taliban controls or contest 44% of the country. Analysts say the real figure is closer to 61%. Many districts the U.S. does not consider contested have the Afghan government controlling the capital and little else. U.S. figures show Afghanistan having 314,000 troops and the Taliban having about 25,000. Afghan officials say the Taliban is actually closer to 77,000, while the estimate of Afghan forces ignores that about a third of them are ghost soldiers who exist only on paper. In individual incidents, the Pentagon reports tend to be wildly inaccurate, as well as with the Taliban's brief capture of the city of Ghazni. The Pentagon declared this a failed Taliban push the day it happened and downplayed it as minimal. Fighting raged for most of the week, with the Pentagon never admitting just what a big fight it actually was. All of these statements are part of a broad effort to paint the Afghan war as at least somewhat less dire than it actually is. It is rare for them to be called on such deception, though if history is any indication, the latest report will not change the Pentagon strategy. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports Dallas police officer Amber Geiger was arrested Sunday night and faces manslaughter charges after she entered the wrong apartment, believing it was hers, and fatally shot a man in his own home. Geiger was booked into the Kaufman County Jail, and her bail was set at $300,000. The incident occurred Thursday night when Geiger, who was off duty but still in uniform, entered the apartment of Botham Jean, believing it was her apartment. She then shot Jean, who died of gunshot wounds on his way to the hospital. Police have not said how Geiger, who lives in the same building, was able to enter the apartment. Geiger was not arrested until almost 3 days after the shooting. Dallas Police Chief Renee Hall said on Friday that authorities were preparing a warrant to arrest Geiger on manslaughter charges, but that was postponed when the investigation was handed over to the Texas Rangers. Attorney Lee Merritt, who is representing Jean's family, said the delay in charging Geiger only worsened an already tragic situation. At a press conference on Sunday, Merritt said he was presented video evidence and witness testimony to police that contradicts the police narrative of what happened during the shooting. However, he did not give specifics on what that evidence shows. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports firefighters battled over the weekend to outflank a wildfire that has forced the closure of an interstate highway in Northern California as the blaze swept through explosively dry mountain timber in the Shasta Trinity National Forest. As of late Saturday, the Delta Fire had scorched more than 40,500 acres in the Cascade Range since erupting on Wednesday in a forest canyon along the Sacramento River about 250 miles north of San Francisco. No serious injuries or deaths had been reported, but the blaze has caused major travel disruptions. On Wednesday, flames raced across Interstate 5, chasing a number of truckers from their vehicles before flames engulfed their abandoned rigs. A 45-mile stretch of I-5, a key north-south route through the entire state, has remained closed since then, requiring traffic detours of up to 120 miles. Although the containment of the blaze remained at zero, crews have made gains, clearing away tinder dry brush beyond its leading edge. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
It's The Onion Radio News. The nation's last remaining themeless restaurant has closed. This is Doyle Redland reporting. A once vibrant era came to an end today when Pat's Place, the nation's last themeless restaurant, closed its doors in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. During the heyday of themeless restaurants, Pat's Place achieved a certain amount of notoriety for its unique non-themed food items and unadorned atmosphere. But according to owner Patrick Baines, the times have changed.
Lately, we've had only a handful of people coming in to gawk at our posterless walls and mundanely named menu items like hamburgers or pancakes, and then they go someplace like the Rainforest Cafe or Johnny Rockets to actually eat.
Plans are now in the works to convert the Pat's Place location into Cedar Rapids' 7th Patty O Touchdown Sports Bar and Good Time Internet Grill. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program, talking about prison phone systems and the hosing that they are giving what are arguably the poorest of the poor. It's very expensive to use a prison phone system, and we can tell you a little bit more about that. There's actually a lawsuit that unfortunately did not proceed. It was kicked out of court over these systems and how they basically have prisoners bent over a barrel and charge them an arm and a leg just to try to call home, just to try to contact loved ones on the outside. It's Ian and Melanie in the studio here tonight. Of course, as always, we'll take your calls here about whatever is on your mind as we continue. But I'm sharing a story from Prison Legal News, which is a great publication. You'll probably appreciate how they do their operations, Melanie. They actually send Prison Legal News, this approximately 70-page newsprint magazine, into prisons and jails across the United States. And whenever one of the prisons and jails, which inevitably it's going to happen, whenever they refuse to allow this particular publication in, they sue them. And they win time and time again. In fact, they've won so many times. There was actually only one case recently where they actually lost it, and they're appealing that. But that's how they fund their entire operations, is off the backs of these prisons who end up losing what is obviously a free speech violation, a free speech case for the prisoner to have the right to read what is not, it's not porn, right? Like, there's certain things that the prisons are able to legally prohibit.
Porn, violence, inciting, right? Yeah, but not the news.
Not the news, exactly. So we're sharing from that an update here from prisonlegalnews.org on the consolidation within the prison phone system industry. It turns out Securus and Globaltel Link, also known as GTL, have approximately 70% of the prison and jail phone industry between just those two companies. And Securus recently swallowed up its fourth largest competitor, and that's what this story was all about. In a research note about GTL's acquisition of Telmate, the Prison Policy Initiative explained why the ever-consolidating prison and jail phone industry matters for prisoners and their families, saying, quote, "Now that there are just two major national companies left to compete for contracts, it will be harder for facilities that want to lower their prices to do so. Because the primary differentiation between vendors is cost, having fewer companies compete for contracts will mean less choice for the facility that awards the contracts and less of an incentive for the companies to offer good deals." And, that's just basic economics. If there are more competitors, you're probably more likely to get a better deal. Not that there are really any good deals to be acquired in the area of being a prisoner and making a phone call.
Yeah, the cheapest I've seen is $10 for 10 minutes.
Around here, you mean? Or just in general?
Just in general.
Anywhere. Yeah, I think that's what it is in the Manchester jail. I forget what the current rates are here.
But it's not $1 a minute. So, like, if you call for 3 minutes, it's $10.
It's $10.
It's $10
That's correct.
for 10 minutes.
And there's two different different configurations even between the jails within New Hampshire. So the one in Manchester is that one that you're talking about, where it's the $10 flat fee. They cut you off after 10 minutes. You can't go any longer than that. And then in Keene, I believe it is a per minute. So there's a certain high fee for the first minute, for just basically connecting the call, and then after that it's a lower fee per minute. I think they max you out at either 10 or 15 minutes on those calls as well. There is a certain maximum amount.
And it's not even the whole time, because they interrupt you 2 or 3 times to remind you that you're being recorded in case you forgot that you were calling the jail, right?
In a research note, going on here, the Lee Petro, an attorney with law firm Drinker Biddle and Wreath LLP, who represents petitioners in the Wright petition, a regulatory proceeding before the Federal Communications Commission related to the cost of prison and jail phone services, told Prison Legal News that he largely shares those concerns. He said, quote, "The acquisition of IC Solutions by Securus is just another step in the consolidation of an industry that already operates as a monopoly at the facility level. By acquiring IC Solutions, Securus has eliminated a potential competitor that had actively bid for large jails and state prison systems. If this transaction's approved, it's likely we'll see just 2 or 3 bidders for large facilities and further elimination of controls over ICS and their rates and fees." So you got bad news on the consolidation front, and then in another recent issue, this is their August 2018 issue of Prison Legal News. This is from Christopher Zukis writing about a federal judge dismissing class action suits over jail phone rates. According to details here, it was August 10th of 2017 that U.S. District Court Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers dismissed 4 related class action lawsuits in which prisoners challenged the rates and commission kickbacks associated with jail phone service contracts. What do you know? The judges are backing up the prison industry. A group of attorneys representing California prisoners held in San Mateo, Santa Clara, Contra Costa, and Alameda counties filed class action complaints alleging the cost of phone calls at those facilities violate the First Amendment, the Fifth Amendment's unlawful takings provision, the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause, and Section 1 of the Sherman Antitrust Act. The plaintiffs said county officials contracted with prison and jail telecom firms Global Tel-Link and Securus Technologies, which charged, quote, unreasonable, unjust, and exorbitant rates for phone calls made by prisoners, and then kicked back extortionate, that's a new one for me, I know extortion, but extortionate, and outrageous commissions to the county jail. So like I was saying, the jail gets a cut off of every single phone call, and of course they allow the phone system, in this contract, part of the deal is they get the system, and they get a cut, and the phone, of course, company makes probably the majority of it. Under President Obama, the Federal Communications Commission took decisive action to reduce prison and jail phone rates. Thus far, in Trump's administration, however, the FCC has taken a hands-off approach to the prison telecom industry and refused to defend its own order capping in-state rates. Phone calls from county jails can be extremely expensive, reaching over $1 per minute for intrastate calls. Those fees bring in huge profits for Global Tel-Link and Securus, and the counties receive a percentage of the revenue through commission kickbacks. The lawsuits reported that Alameda County received at least $1.5 million annually based on a contractual 70.5% commission. Wow, I'm surprised it's that high. While Santa Clara County received a 61% commission that resulted in $1.7 million in kickback payments, and Contra Costa County received around $720,000 per year with a commission rate of over 50%. And it's interesting that there's a fairly large range there between 50% and 70.5% for these different counties. I'm guessing that has to do with the amount of people that these jails typically have in them, and maybe the jails that have more people get a lower, I don't know, maybe they get a lower rate, or I'm not sure how that would work out. According to KTVU.com, under California law, revenue gathered from the phone systems must be deposited into an inmate welfare fund for education and rehabilitation programs. If not needed for that purpose, the funds can go to jail maintenance. Attorneys for the plaintiffs argued that much, and possibly most of that fund, goes to jail maintenance and not rehabilitation programs.
Oh, yeah, I'm really surprised by that.
Surprise. However, Judge Gonzalez-Rogers found the prisoners had failed to state claims for constitutional violations. She stated, quote, that the commissions charged may result in higher phone rates, which in turn may reduce the frequency and length of phone calls made, does not constitute a governmental restriction on plaintiffs' constitutional rights, she said. A significant problem with the suits was that they named county governments as defendants, and according to the court, quote, the Ninth Circuit has not recognized an independent right to telephone access for inmates that could be impeded by government action. Even if that wasn't the case, the judge held the plaintiffs did not show that any deprivation of phone access was, quote, essentially absolute, unquote. So basically saying, look, you're in prison, you don't have a right to call anybody, so you don't really have any kind of standing here. You have not failed.
That's also the argument that it sounds like they're trying to make is an economic discrimination argument, which does not work.
Plaintiffs have not alleged the imposition of any regulations or restrictions that prevent them from using the telephone for communications, nor they have alleged that the rates are, quote, so exorbitant as to deprive detainees of access altogether, she wrote. A First Amendment claim was allowed to proceed, but later dismissed by the court in October of 2017. Of course, prisoners and their families who cannot afford to pay the exorbitant phone rates charged at county jails are, in fact, essentially deprived of telephone access. So, case dismissed, sadly. The federal judge did not want to hear the case at all, saying the prisoners had failed to state claims for constitutional violations. Essentially saying, hey, look, the Constitution doesn't address whether or not you have a right to make a phone call from a prison cell. So since it doesn't say it, we're not going to hear the case. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. What's a financial abortion? We'll find out coming up.
What is it costing you in vet bills for that convenience of just pulling open a bag of
formulated, extruded, processed cereal bits that cost a ton of money anyways?
How do you feed your dog to derive not only energy, but a good coat, bright eyes, and a great attitude?
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
I found his raw meat diet on Dinovite.com with just the raw meat and the eggs and the Dinovite and the Super Omega on top of it.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
Ground beef, white rice, eggs, including the shells, and the Dinovite supplement, and then the Lico Chops.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
It just balances out his body and his mind and his spirit.
Adding Dinovite to their diet has every single dog in my kennel looking better than they have ever looked.
Their skin is so much better now that they're on the raw diet. I don't even give them the kibble anymore.
DINOVITE.com.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening in your home anytime, anywhere. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blink is an Amazon company.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want. We're here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
Melanie.
Also, want to make sure you know about the Blink home security system because your property and your family are precious. So protect them with Blink like we have done. Mark and I, we've both got Blink motion-activated HD cameras in our homes, and they are wireless. They set up super fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. I've had mine set up for about a year now, I think, and I've yet to receive any kind of low battery notification. I expect that will happen at some point, but it hasn't happened yet, which is pretty great. And they run off of AA's, so it's easy to get the replacement batteries for these things. They come with their batteries, by the way, when you buy the Blink Protect system, which you can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off because you're a Free Talk Live listener. Go to blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. Blink is, by the way, an Amazon company, and Blink does work with Alexa. So no contracts, no subscriptions, just great wireless security cameras you can easily set up in moments. blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. As we've been talking about prison systems, prison phone systems, scamming people out of just a boatload of money, $1 plus per minute rates in some cases, with huge percentages going to the jail. I learned something from that Prison Legal News article. I didn't know they were cutting the prisons the majority of each phone call that they're making.
That I was not aware of that either.
As much as 70% going to some of the California prisons, and as low as 50%. But in every case, it was basically the majority of the revenue coming in. So it's a huge money maker for these prisons, and of course the companies that are providing the phone service as well. Now, there's other prison-related news. I'm going to get to an actual letter from an inmate that was written to us here from there's been guys calling from Jackson, Michigan, who've been listening to WKHM there, which is our radio affiliate in Jackson. And one of them is a Free Talk Live listener from before he went into prison. So we'll share that with you here. But first we go to Matthew calling us online, or from online. He's watching us on our YouTube channel. Go ahead, Matthew. You're on Free Talk Live, calling from Louisiana.
Yeah, this is a completely different topic.
That's okay.
A lot of the people who support Donald Trump, and I feel the same way too, are very skeptical of our intelligence services as of late, and I'm getting to the point of extreme skepticism. Well, for some reason, our intelligence service seems to have gotten a memo from Assad that he's planning on launching a chemical warfare attack against the civilians and rebel fighters in Idlib.
Where the hell is that?
The name of the province.
I don't know where that is, but I feel like it's probably way over there, which makes it not
None of
our
my
problem.
business. Yeah.
Right, but the thing is of course, the warmongers in the Trump administration, I'm looking at you, John Bolton, are going to say, we need to attack, when this happens, if it happens, and is this a
If it's
false
even
flag?
real, if it's not, a CI to themselves, like, why
CI
should I
confidential
believe this?
informant.
Yeah, so cops have had the habit of, and I've had cops tell me this, they'd go down to the payphone, obviously this was a while ago, and make a confidential call to the police station.
So they would call in the anonymous tip.
Yeah. So I have no reason to think that anything is real
Right.
as far as, government. I mean, because this is just a bigger government agency. Why would I even believe this is true? I mean, like he wrote a letter to the Pentagon. I mean, like, come on, no.
Yeah, I mean, like, is he sending them a telegraph or something, or maybe an email? Hey, I'm planning on using chlorine gas.
Yeah, he just dropped it off to the local post office that they would clearly have over there. Like, hey, take this to the White House, will you? Like, no.
Yeah, but I really think that there are people in the administration and outside the administration who are desperately trying to force a war on
of course.
Because they know that a large part of Trump's base really does want this thing called, peace and prosperity. And getting us dragged into a war with Syria and Russia and Iran ain't that.
No, there's no doubt about it. And, of course, Trump has done bombings aplenty under his administration. On the other hand, during his campaign and as he was, getting closer to being sworn in, he did make statements about claiming to be a peace president. Of course, the reality on the ground is different. I don't know that that's
up to him in any meaningful way.
Well, he doesn't have to order bombings, and he has.
You're right, Melanie. I really think that our damn government seems to run itself just fine and without any concern for who the guy who's supposed to be in charge of it is.
Well, I mean, again, he doesn't have to order bombings, and he has done that. So it's not like he's done nothing at all, and all the military's just sort of done its own thing without his approval. If he is the commander-in-chief, he can stop things from happening.
Bombings on empty buildings. I will agree with you there. But
I'm pretty sure there's been there was a
news
there was some sort of count early on in his presidency. It was last year, which we reported on, that had said that he had done more bombings than Obama had, like in a certain period of window of time. So Trump was just as bombing, if not more so,
than
Obama.
I don't think. I mean, the president's there for 8 years, and he has
4.
Especially if
you think he's going to get reelected?
I'm not saying Trump specifically. Presidents are there for 8 years.
Frequently.
They're basically figureheads, especially if you go by what the Constitution says. They're definitely just figureheads for the most part. I'm not saying he's innocent. Like, I'm not saying that Trump has never murdered anyone. That's not my claim. But he's not the guy in charge. So there's going to be wars.
So you're saying the president isn't the commander-in-chief of the military? You're saying it's like a puppet government and there's somebody else pulling the strings? Like who?
I'm not even saying that much. I mean, well, there are too many people who stand to gain for just being at perpetual war, which is basically what the U.S. has been in for the past 200 years.
Do you think Trump would be murdered if he withdrew the troops from the Middle East or Korea or something like that?
Wouldn't be the first time.
So you believe that would be the case?
Wouldn't be the first time.
Okay. Matthew?
Well, I'm going to have to go with Melanie on this one. It does seem like the permanent bureaucracy seems to have a lot more control over our government than I ever thought they did.
Well, wasn't it Eisenhower who warned against the military-industrial complex?
Yeah, and I was willing to say, okay, I understand what you're saying, Ike. Yeah, we've got to keep an eye on it. Well, apparently, we haven't been keeping an eye on it because it seems to have infested the Justice Department, the intelligence community, every layer of this behemoth, unbelievable government complex, the government media complex that seems to be trying to run our country for us. And
Well, even keeping an eye on it doesn't stop it from growing, right?
Like, I can keep an eye on it. It's still gonna. There's still gonna not Boeing. Sorry, Lockheed Martin is still gonna make their money whether I watch them or not.
Yeah, the only thing that would ever stop them is if people stopped funding the government and obeying the government. You can watch it all you want. Thanks, Matthew, for the call tonight. I appreciate it. And if you want to stop funding the government, well, that's tricky because they can just print money. So you probably should go with cryptocurrency. More coming up here. Free Talk Live.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com. Or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
When you use public Wi-Fi, hackers and identity thieves can see anything you do online. Embarrassing photos, your web history, even your passwords. That's why I use private internet access to encrypt my internet connection for less than 10 cents a day. Sign up now at privateinternetaccess.com, and in just a few minutes, you'll be browsing anonymously and only sharing what you want to share. privateinternetaccess.com. It's time to protect your online privacy.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You know how annoying it is when someone keeps stopping mid-sentence as though he or she were asking you a series of questions? Avoid doing that. It sounds unnervingly tentative, and it imposes upon the listener to help you complete the thought. And if you're a job seeker, this alone could be a deal killer. An effective communicator sounds more confident. Complete the thought. Avoid making the listener impatient. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook. survivalspeech.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up what you want. Just dial in toll free. Take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Also, we got our Discord on air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. Drop on in there. You'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us, which includes me, Ian.
And Melanie.
Zencash is now known as Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology. That means you've got security, you've got privacy, and they've got a decentralized secure node architecture with more secure and super nodes combined together than Bitcoin has full nodes in its system. That means that Zencash, now known as Horizon, is a very secure system because their network is I think over 16,000 nodes strong last time I looked, which made them at the time the #1 most distributed network out there in the world of cryptocurrency. But it's not just cryptocurrency. The Horizon platform also enables real-life use beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people, and soon Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon is bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global, HORIZEN.global. That's horizon.global. As we continue here, we were talking about jails and the just absolutely ridiculous phone system rates and the consolidation within the phone system industry, and I got a letter from one of our listeners in jail. We've got some very dedicated listeners in jail because, well, you don't really have much else to do. If Free Talk Live's on the radio, it's usually something you can appointment listen to. You know what time it starts. You're there. You can tune it in. And in the case in Jackson, Michigan, we are on WKHM, which is AM 970. And actually, we've been on that station for quite a long time. I'll pull it up here. We got our affiliates list over at affiliates.freetalklive.com. Let's see here. Yeah, Jackson has been on with us since 2010, so not quite a decade, but a long time. And they actually do carry this particular hour of the show. So hello to anybody out there who's listening behind bars, whether in Jackson or anywhere out there across the United States or elsewhere. Jackson did get on a year ago on an FM translator, so they're on both AM and FM, so kudos to WKHM for airing the show. Let me get to this letter here from one of our guys on the inside. Turns out he's actually a Free Talk Live listener from before he got behind bars. He says, "Dear Ian, my associate Arthur Rouse called into the show briefly discussing an organization that we started called Prisoners for Liberty. We're dedicated to educating prisoners and felons about the ideas of liberty. Right now, we're only active at Parnall Correctional Facility in Jackson, Michigan. But we're like seeds. If and when they try to disband us, they will try to separate us by moving us to other prisons. We have a line of succession and instructions for starting chapters up at new facilities. Libertarians, or at least liberty-minded people, are easy to find in prison. I found a nice group of would-be activists at both of the facilities that I have been at," he says. And of course, again, you got plenty of time in prison, so doing activism is no problem. Normally, activism gets in the way of life because you've got other things that, responsibilities and things that you're called to do. In this case, he says, "I am Bradley Hunt, a passionate voluntarist and activist. I've connected a handful of liberty-receptive people to the libertarian philosophy over the last 16 months, the total time I've been in prison. My earliest release date is September 12th, 2020. But I'll likely be in prison an additional year because the MDOC is not getting sex offenders into the MSOP class that they have to take to get a parole. I have to take that class. I was the chair of the Libertarian Party of Northeast Michigan, an affiliate that I started, the only one in Northern Michigan," which, by the way, we're heard in quite a bit of Northern Michigan. He says, "We were known for our rapid startup and high attendance. Our vice chair, Zach Boyle, was on the county planning board, and when he ran for county commissioner, he received 30-some% of the vote, more than any other candidate who ran under a third party in the whole state. Will Coley received the second highest percentage. I was Zach's campaign manager. I was also media director for the Libertarian Party of Michigan, responsible for nearly doubling their Facebook page's likes in a year's time. I was nominated and awarded the Libby Award promotion at the state convention. All of this took place before the last election. My wife, who I'm separated with now, has a Facebook page called Voluntarist Girl. I'm a longtime listener of Free Talk Live and was a platinum amplifier. That means Brad here, the writer, was giving $25 a month to Free Talk Live in the past. He says, I've called into the show before about when Michigan cracked down on medical marijuana around the end of January. Apart from libertarianism, I was team lead at Crossmark, a marketing company, due to my leadership skills and high sales. I'm currently attending Jackson Community College and receiving a 4.0 last semester. I'm going for business administration. I took the ACT Work Keys test and received the highest score, platinum. And now I am chair of Prisoners for Liberty, and I want to grow it into a national nonprofit and become CEO and be a career activist. As soon as I am free from Michigan, I plan on moving to New Hampshire. He says our movement needs, so there you go. That's his cred, right? Like he's been involved with libertarianism. This isn't something he discovered in prison. Not that there'd be anything wrong with that, but he's got a track record on the outside, including being a Free Talk Live listener and supporter. He says our movement needs an organization that focuses on prisoners. This would be like Students for Liberty, but in this case, Prisoners for Liberty. The U.S., he says, has the highest incarceration in the world. Libertarians are probably targeted. And prisoners, victims of government who have experienced the corrupt court system, are exactly the kind of people that we need to reach out to, he says. It's an untapped market. Felons are naturally rebellious and full of energy. Prison makes us lonely and bored and desperate to be part of something. Prisoners are lost and broken, so naturally more receptive to new ideas. You should support us in any way you can. I'll tell you about what we do. We push people to listen to Free Talk Live, pass out the world's smallest political quiz, the Libertarian Party platform, and FIJA, which is the Fully Informed Jury Association. It's an organization dedicated to informing people about their right to nullify as a jury member, to vote their conscience in a case. He says, we hand out FIJA flyers. We talk to prisoners and debate with them, and we share Reason Magazine and Libertarian books, and I donate them to the prison library. I focus on building the organization, and AJ, who's the guy who's called us a few times, does legal research, spiritual work, and writes letters and calls various organizations and politicians. He has experience starting nonprofits and businesses. JR focuses on the activism, especially reaching out to the black community. We have other members, too. On the outside, my mother, Renee Hunt, and best friend Zach Boyle send us information, literature, and are building us a Facebook page. We have plans to grow and succeed, but we desperately need dedicated outside support, preferably before I leave prison so I don't have to come back. I don't like it here. I wrote Daryl Perry at the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire P.O. Box in the LNC, which is the Libertarian National Committee, which responded once saying it was an interesting idea, but not yet pledging support. This is what we're asking for. Number one, an outside contact. So anybody out there who is a libertarian and you're looking for an activist thing to do, you're looking for an activist thing to do that's sort of behind the scenes, that can help out other activists, in this case the Prisoners for Liberty, without you having to really take any kind of heat, right? Because there's visible activism that some of us do here, like in New Hampshire, civil disobedience and doing media or whatever. And then there's the behind-the-scenes activism like this. So here's what they're saying they need help with. Number one, an outside contact who's dedicated to helping us with outside work, such as running our Facebook page to get us likes by posting content and make the page appear professional. My mom and friend aren't very dedicated. Number two, create us a Twitter account and any other social media. Number three, create us a GoFundMe and GoDaddy when we have a decent online presence. Where we have a decent online presence. 4, create us a website. 5, eventually advertise us on Free Talk Live. 6, make us an official nonprofit. 7, provide us with addresses and phone numbers to libertarian people and organizations. 8, connect us to Ademo Freeman, Cop Block, and Lynn Ulbricht, so maybe Ross can start a chapter at his facility. So referring to Ross Ulbricht, the founder of the Silk Road, that is in prison for a double life sentence plus 40 years, who is a well-known libertarian. These guys want to get connected. They want to get connected with the outside world more so than they already are. They need somebody on the outside to help them with this. If you're interested in this, there's a little bit more to his letter, but if you're interested in this, you can reach out to me. I'll give you his contact information, and you can reach out to him directly and try to help these guys out. My email is ian@freetalklive.com. We got more coming up.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help. Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite. Pick up 2 bottles of LicoChops, get the 3rd bottle free. New improved LicoChops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E, and now 6 extra direct-fed microbials. Even better for the digestive tract and immune system. And dogs love it. Try LicoChops. Buy 2, get 1 free. This is Henry Lukasevic for Dynavite.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Heart-related health problems affect millions of people each year. Maybe you're one of the many who suffer from issues related to angina pain, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, unbalanced cholesterol, irregular heartbeat, or clogged arteries. There is a solution that doesn't involve expensive prescription drugs that only mask the problem and leave you with horrible side effects. If you are ready to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience your body healing itself, yourself? Then you're ready for Heart and Body Extract from Healthy Hearts Club. Here is what one satisfied customer had to say about Heart and Body Extract regarding his angina pain.
I haven't had an angina pain since I've been on it. The Heart Body Extract is just so great. I thank God that I was led to this product that's doing so much for me and that can do so much for other people.
Call to order your 2-month supply of Heart and Body Extract today. Call 1-866-295-5305 or go to hbextract.com.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
No, I can understand the time cue, but what I know is wiser than anything else. Like God created one day, I've created 4 simultaneous days in one rotation of Earth.
At what point did you become the wisest human, Gene Ray?
Well, I've learned everything. When you know everything, there's nothing to know.
Okay, well, now, you said you're getting ready to write a book on it. When can we expect to see it?
No, I don't have a publisher yet. A lot of morning touch it, and so...
you touch it in the morning?
Well, sometimes, not much.
Yeah. How old are you, Dr. Gene Ray?
I'm 78. Well, I told this black lady down in St. Pete, I said, when you die, you're going to come back as a white person. I said, I'm going to come back as a black person. I'm going to hate you honkies.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in here. It's all free. Bring up whatever you'd like. Our number, 855-450-FREE. We're talking about a group called Prisoners for Liberty. It's just getting started. In a prison in Jackson, Michigan State Prison there. Parnall, I believe, is the facility. Parnall Correctional Facility in Jackson. They've started a group called Prisoners for Liberty. It's actually started, one of the founders is a Free Talk Live longtime listener, somebody who was listening to and supporting Free Talk Live from way back. He was a Free Talk Live amplifier at the platinum level, which is our highest level, which is a $25 a month, and looks like he was doing that back in 2015, according to my email records here. So, longtime libertarian. He was active with the Libertarian Party. He wrote this letter because he wants, well, first of all, he wants people to know about Prisoners for Liberty, but he wants a Facebook, he wants a social media presence. I guess they have a Facebook page. He's got a friend and mom on the outside who are trying to help, but they're just not that dedicated to it. They're probably not that libertarian, or maybe they're super busy or whatever. But if you've been looking for an activist project, if you've been wanting to help out other activists, but you don't want to put yourself on the front lines, this sounds like a really cool opportunity to help people inside prisons and jails in the United States discover the ideas of libertarianism. As he points out, they are a ripe audience for these ideas, and he's looking for somebody who can help them with website administration, with social media administration, connecting them with other prisoners, people like Ross Ulbricht, sort of noteworthy prisoners. Because if you could get Ross Ulbricht to back this organization, and I don't see why he wouldn't. Ross, who's the founder of the Silk Road, now sitting in prison, federal prison, for 2 life sentences plus 40 years for the so-called crime of running a website on which people traded things. Ross is a known libertarian. He was known even when he was anonymous as Dread Pirate Roberts, the operator of the site. He had a libertarian book club that went on the Silk Road forums. So, like, Ross has his cred as far as being a libertarian, and so it would be great to connect these guys together. But when you're inside one jail, you don't have like a Rolodex you can just go to find out, whoa, which prison is Ross Ulbricht being holed up in? You have no idea. You have to have somebody on the outside who can gather that information and then send it into you on the inside. Then once you have Ross's address on the inside, then they can just reach out directly. They could send Ross a letter and they can begin corresponding directly. So they just need a facilitator. They need somebody who's on the outside to help them out with this. They also would like, in addition to connecting with people on the outside, they would like for you, if you're going to take this role on, to send them books and literature. Books must be ordered new from Amazon and delivered straight to the prison, and literature must be black and white on standard paper. Point number 10, he says he'd like to be kept updated about the Free State Project. And he says the biggest, because he said he's going to move to New Hampshire when he gets out of prison in 2020. The biggest help, he says, is we need to get chapters started in other prisons, especially other states, and on the federal level. Right now, we could only spread within Michigan. A federal chapter would be huge. Personally, he says, I'd love to spread the seeds throughout New England. And he says, my new Israel, so to speak. Maine and Vermont allow prisoners to vote. New Hampshire will be my new home. I want liberty to be strong there, even in its prisons. We need our social media to be strong, for Free Talk Live to promote us, for Ross Ulbricht to establish us on the federal level, and to be in contact with libertarians and organizations in order to help us spread throughout the country. We especially need felon libertarians, activists who frequently visit jails, libertarians who have friends in prison, and family who have libertarians in prison. We need to reach out to them so we can be a living network. Please write me back and let me know if you or anybody else can help. I'd love to also just talk on a personal level. I'm just a lonely libertarian who wants a friend and to network before I make the move. I want to be updated about libertarian news and events, and I'd love to help anybody else out in any way I can. For love and liberty, Bradley Hunt at the Parnall Correctional Institution. I'm not going to give out his address here just because I don't have it in front of me at the moment. But if you want to get in touch with Bradley, you can send me an email at ian@freetalklive.com. If you want to help him out with this stuff, like when I read this stuff, I'm like, I want to help, right? Like I've been in jail as a civil disobedience activist before. I know at the very least what jail is like. I don't have experience in prison. Of course, Mark Edge, who is normally here with us on Monday nights, spent 9 years of his life in prison down in Florida in the 1990s. So, even here on this show, we have people who've had these experiences. We can empathize, we can relate. And one of the toughest things to do is to have somebody who is on the outside who can consistently do these things. Like when I look at this, my thought is, man, if I didn't have a zillion other things to do, I could do this, I would want to do this particular job. And it makes me, I really am hopeful that there's somebody out there, we've got a lot of listeners who are libertarian folks who maybe there's somebody out there who's been waiting for an opportunity. Maybe you've been you've got internet skills. You can administer a website like a WordPress. You are familiar with social media. You can handle these sorts of things. And you want to be the sort of main contact for Prisoners for Liberty on the outside. And maybe it will be a job that would last temporarily. He says he's looking for somebody to handle this until he gets out. So maybe he would take that over once he gets out in 2020. If you want to help these guys get the ball rolling on this, I mean, Melanie, you've just been sort of listening to this letter. Any thoughts on what this guy's putting together?
I don't know what his goals are. It sounds
like he wants to connect prisoners with the ideas of liberty through getting in touch with them directly, through literature.
So just like mailing people in prison letters.
He wants to start chapters in other prisons. So to kind of create the example in the Michigan prison in which he is in, and then have that copied to other prisoners elsewhere.
Yeah, so I don't have any real educated opinions on how the organizational stuff would work in the inside, but people in prison will pretty much read whatever you send them. You kind of have
a captive audience.
Yeah. So yeah, mailing them liberty stuff is kind of pricey and seems like it might work. It's just, I mean, it's kind of a scatterplot, I guess. You just kind of
Well, I mean, it's
mail
not
it to a
that
bunch of people and see
pricey,
what.
right? I mean, it's not that expensive. I mean, compared with lobbying politicians or compared with running a political campaign, it doesn't cost a whole lot of money to send some, black and white papers in an envelope to one guy in a prison block, and then he can distribute them to, the other prisoners there. I think it's a great idea. I got to say, I think this is a great idea. I think Bradley is spot on that these people are good prospects for
one of the people with someone with a more calm a more calm style than me needs to do that, because I imagine that a lot of the stuff I would write would not be allowed into the prison.
It would get stopped at the censor level. So if you want to help him out, again, it's Bradley Hunt. He's in the Parnall Correctional Facility, and I'm happy to write him back. I will write him back, but I would love to be able to write him back with good news, because I don't want to be able to, I don't want to write him back and say, dang, I put this out on national radio for you and nobody responded. I want to have hope for the liberty movement. Unfortunately, the last thing that happened was we had Mail to Jail, which was a great organization. Longtime listeners of Free Talk Live will remember Mail to Jail. It was a way that one guy on the outside was able to facilitate people writing letters to people on the inside. So like, I was in jail. I got some stuff from Mail to Jail. Sam Dotson, our co-host in the past, got a bunch of stuff from Mail to Jail. Ademo Freeman. There's so many different activists that have been inside jails at different points that have been given mail from people who wanted to write to them. And it was just a website that collected submissions from people who wanted to write to somebody in jail, some libertarian who was in jail. And the website operator would do the printing of the letters. He would do the stuffing of the envelopes, the addressing of it. And, he had a system down for it. He wasn't handwriting everything. He was printing up envelopes, and he made it pretty efficient. And it was great. He got some donations from people to, help cover the costs of all this. And it took the steps out of writing somebody in jail, because you have to find out what the address is. You have to find out what the policies are. You've got to, there's steps. You got to write. You got to write up the envelope. You got to put stamps on. You got to drop it off in the mail. He took all those steps out and just made it so you could go to the website and submit it. But unfortunately, when he gave up on doing Mail to Jail, because everybody burns out. A lot of people burn out when it comes to activism. And when he gave up, nobody else stepped up to take it over. So maybe that could be something that Prisoners for Liberty pick up, if this organization can get off the ground. And what he's saying is he needs somebody on the outside, a libertarian on the outside who wants to help with this. It sounds to me like a great form of activism for somebody that wants to do something that can make a difference in people's lives, but stay behind the scenes and not be out on Front Street about who you are, because you don't need to be in order to be this facilitator for Prisoners for Liberty. They want to get this thing much bigger than just one prisoner facility in Michigan. So if you want to get in touch with Bradley Hunt there at Parnall, get in touch with me and I'll get your info and get it to him. My email is Ian, I-A-N, @freetalklive.com, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, September 10th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.19 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,194 per ounce. Zen is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,302. Antiwar.com reports 17 years into the war in Afghanistan, the Pentagon has gone through several periods of trying to sell the American public on the idea that the war isn't a disastrous failure. This is increasingly difficult because the war is going really badly. But lying works sometimes, and the Pentagon has made that standard operating procedure in Afghanistan. The Pentagon estimates on the war are often exaggerated and many times simply fabricated outright. The Pentagon estimates that the Taliban controls or contest 44% of the country. Analysts say the real figure is closer to 61%. Many districts the U.S. does not consider contested have the Afghan government controlling the capital and little else. U.S. figures show Afghanistan having 314,000 troops and the Taliban having about 25,000. Afghan officials say the Taliban is actually closer to 77,000, while the estimate of Afghan forces ignores that about a third of them are ghost soldiers who exist only on paper. In individual incidents, the Pentagon reports tend to be wildly inaccurate, as well as with the Taliban's brief capture of the city of Ghazni. The Pentagon declared this a failed Taliban push the day it happened and downplayed it as minimal. Fighting raged for most of the week, with the Pentagon never admitting just what a big fight it actually was. All of these statements are part of a broad effort to paint the Afghan war as at least somewhat less dire than it actually is. It is rare for them to be called on such deception, though if history is any indication, the latest report will not change the Pentagon strategy. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co. UPI reports Dallas police officer Amber Geiger was arrested Sunday night and faces manslaughter charges after she entered the wrong apartment, believing it was hers, and fatally shot a man in his own home. Geiger was booked into the Kaufman County Jail, and her bail was set at $300,000. The incident occurred Thursday night when Geiger, who was off duty but still in uniform, entered the apartment of Botham Jean, believing it was her apartment. She then shot Jean, who died of gunshot wounds on his way to the hospital. Police have not said how Geiger, who lives in the same building, was able to enter the apartment. Geiger was not arrested until almost 3 days after the shooting. Dallas Police Chief Renee Hall said on Friday that authorities were preparing a warrant to arrest Geiger on manslaughter charges, but that was postponed when the investigation was handed over to the Texas Rangers. Attorney Lee Merritt, who is representing Jean's family, said the delay in charging Geiger only worsened an already tragic situation. At a press conference on Sunday, Merritt said he was presented video evidence and witness testimony to police that contradicts the police narrative of what happened during the shooting. However, he did not give specifics on what that evidence shows. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports firefighters battled over the weekend to outflank a wildfire that has forced the closure of an interstate highway in Northern California as the blaze swept through explosively dry mountain timber in the Shasta Trinity National Forest. As of late Saturday, the Delta Fire had scorched more than 40,500 acres in the Cascade Range since erupting on Wednesday in a forest canyon along the Sacramento River about 250 miles north of San Francisco. No serious injuries or deaths had been reported, but the blaze has caused major travel disruptions. On Wednesday, flames raced across Interstate 5, chasing a number of truckers from their vehicles before flames engulfed their abandoned rigs. A 45-mile stretch of I-5, a key north-south route through the entire state, has remained closed since then, requiring traffic detours of up to 120 miles. Although the containment of the blaze remained at zero, crews have made gains, clearing away tinder dry brush beyond its leading edge. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Shortly after accidentally clicking like on nearly 400 of his ex-girlfriend's Facebook photos earlier today, panicked area man Adam Nuensing spoke to Onion reporters about his mistake.
Damn it, I was just looking at one of Rebecca's Instagram photos that showed up on my newsfeed, and the next thing I know, I just liked every single photo that she posted over the last 4 years. I didn't mean to, but it just kind of happened.
The 28-year-old told reporters that he had browsed through 14 of his ex-girlfriend's photo albums while inadvertently clicking like on each and every picture, including dozens from her office picnic last fall, her trip to New York in 2010, and a photo of her and her first boyfriend from 2006.
I thought if I went back and clicked unlike on all those pictures that maybe she wouldn't get any notifications, but then I saw some other albums and I ended up liking 80 more photos and shared them on my wall. Shit.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Yeah, no fear, no fear, no fear, no fear, no fear, no fear, no fear here and declare your independence of me. You're in the Stancock here in Phoenix, Arizona. From the beautiful studios of Freedom's with an S, PhoenixPhoenix.com. Okay. Today we're going to do and get caught up on and find out about, and I had some meetings and stuff. We're going to have, in the first hour, Davi and I are going to go over some publishing stuff that I'm like, are you freaking kidding? It's unbelievable. I'm going to be telling you, so you're not writing a book. We'll talk about it. You will be surprised, I guarantee it. Then Adam Kokesh came in late last night. He's in there sleeping, and he'll be in, come tell us all about. And today we're going to find out whether he made the ballot for U.S. Senate or not, and all the candidates for, and if we got something to do, this election cycle. And I meeting with some people about helping. Nick Sarwark, the national chair of the Libertarian Party, is running for mayor of Phoenix here, and he is on the ballot. That's already confirmed and done, and he'll be there. But the Phoenix election, it will be the date of the general here in November, but that's just the preliminary. That will narrow 4 down to 2, and then the real election's in March. So the goal is to, make sure that Nick is one of those. So we'll talk about that a little bit during this. Then 8 to 9, what is that? That's a third hour. Yeah, it depends where you're at. The third hour is Drew Phillips. Drew Phillips is going to talk about hosting, it's free hosting. He does Agorist hosting along with Derek. Antiwar.com 3 the call to action campaign, why I am anti-war. Remember, we were doing signs, I'm already against the next war. And so, November is, God, what is it? They call it Veterans Day, but Armistice Day, I think is what it originally wound up being. But he's going to be talking about some stuff with the antiwar.com. We're going to get all up to speed on that. Then, at the end of the show, we got a podcast set up. We'll just keep live streaming. We'll go right into Scott Horton. Scott Horton, scotthorton.org, Russia, Syria, Iran, Trump. This is the Scott Horton Show, Anti-War Radio, and we need to get caught up with Scott. Last time I saw him was this summer in New Orleans when we had the New Orleans National Convention for Libertarian Party, and he wasn't there. He was at a Mises Institute thing that was down the street, and they were doing a thing. Had Tom Woods and Bob Murphy and Jeff Dice from Mises and Scott, and Skyped in was Ron Paul, and it's just, it was a thing. And I wasn't there for the whole thing or the music or all that kind of stuff. I got to towards the end say, yo, what's up to the guys, and Scott had a line, as he's signing books, So the fool's errand about Afghanistan. Well, hopefully I keep bugging him about Yemen. So maybe we'll get a little bit of Yemen too. So with Davi, tell people what we're going to talk about. I mean, we got to get all details and everything, but it's the process of what? You're telling me things last night, and I man, we so got to tell the audience.
Sure. So some people may know me as the author of the Survivor Max series. Max is a kid surviving in the zombie apocalypse. And there are 2 books in print, and the 3rd book is due out in October. The difference is that the 3rd book was dropped by the publisher, and so this is going to be, I'm going to self-publish this book, and I recently self-published a coloring book for the series. And so I've been learning about the process of self-publishing through CreateSpace, which is Amazon's author self-publishing platform. And it is a lot easier than I thought that it was. And it turns out that it is also the same tool that my publisher was using. So I'm not really losing anything by losing the publisher except a middleman. So, I want to talk about, what I've been learning about that.
Did you bring one of the books?
Yeah, I got it here.
See. I want to show people this, okay? It's not even going to be done or out until what?
Halloween.
Halloween. Okay. Now, those of you that are on the camera live stream, here's the book. And how many pages is this?
306.
Okay, this is Survivor Max's 3rd book, Trigger Warnings.
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's social justice lingo, right? Trigger warnings is when people want to be warned about whatever. But in this context, zombies have particular things that trigger them. And so this is an exploration of how to trigger zombies and how to avoid triggering zombies.
Now, there's some illustrations and graphics in here. And so, I mean, it's a book. And this is like 300 pages or something.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my point. This is just a proof copy. In the back it says proof, okay? But this is what the book will look like.
Yeah, they
right?
send that to me so that I can do a final proof to make sure all the illustrations are right and all that kind of stuff.
He writes the book. He has help editing it. You go through, make sure and spell check of the whatever the hell. You go through all that.
I paid my editor with Bitcoin, by the way.
Bitcoin. Should we say who it is?
Hey, it's MK Lords.
Yeah, it's MK Lords.
Okay. She's great.
So she whizzes through it, man, goes through, makes a lot of suggestions, makes sure and whatever, it's a standalone from the other 2 and the kind of, and the continuity of all that kind of crap.
Yeah, she's really good at continuity, and she's really good at catching all the little typos, too.
So she gets this. He takes the file, which is, you did it in Google Docs.
I did it in Google Documents. You could do it in WordPerfect or Microsoft Word.
Okay, so the point is you send it to Amazon. They have we'll go into details and everything, but this is the blow me away. You get a book, put the cover, illustrate. You do it all up. It's on your computer, and you go, all right, boom, print me a book. First book, everything, only 250 cents.
Oh, I looked it up. It was $3.40.
340 cents.
Yeah.
I mean, for $3.50, you get your first book. And you can order them by the gazillion, whatever. You go, okay, yeah, this is the one, take the proof off. And you could order,
100 books, and they cost you how much each?
$3.40.
340 cents. Okay?
And that's at that size. The coloring book, I looked it up, it was $2.19.
I am dumbfounded.
Automation and mass production.
340 cents, okay, for the first book. Now let's. It's paperback, but it's bound and so on. I am dumbfounded by this.
Yeah.
I'm going, whoa, freaking whoa, man. That's a whole other show by itself. All right. Now, in the next segments, when we come back, we'll go through the process. We might even talk about the book. But, I mean, the process of, writing a book is all of a sudden all the hurdle. You'll need a publisher. You don't got to convince anybody. You don't got to, tell them oh, my God.
You got to convince the customer.
Yeah, you got to convince somebody to buy it. But, to produce a book, you write it out, you got an idea, you do it, you kind of get polished up and doing kind of so on. Now, Barry Hess, he did a book is called The Peacemaker or Peacemonger or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about, it's kind of a parody of Obama presidency and where he came from, his early life. And it was good. I enjoyed it. He continues to sell this. He's doing the audio now. He did the audio book. That's another thing. Audible on Amazon. You can self-publish your Audible, too.
Yeah.
We're going to get into the details and walk it from the beginning to the end. If you ever thought that you wanted to write a book, your excuses are going away. I'm going, damn, I got to write a book. About what? I don't know, but for $3.50, man, I got to write a book. $3.40, whatever. We'll be right back. Tommy Barker explained it to us on this book thing. From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown. Not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
This